we go.
Welcome back to Offbeat Melody, guest star The Depth from Among the Stars. We join our players today, not long after the group has split up to face multiple threats across Fiddler's Green. Zoe and Celia took to the air, responding to a distress call from Agent Fallow, probably to Zoe's, annoyance, as
Ah,
as a few remaining cultists and Reconstructed were attempting to take the observatory by surprise. As the oh, Setting this off was the witching hour beginning, showing the alarming sight of the normally purple skies combating with an encroaching green. Um, and then responding to the call of aid from Joe the Doe, Benedict, Hal, and Phineas, and who is that? It? Yeah. Uh, Went storming through the woods back towards the treehouse village, finding the survivors surrounded by Reconstructed, and thanks to their efforts and the pure determination of the hunter, managed to break through the line and scatter them with the spurring the survivors and the chimp tribe of the forest into combat. And Hal managing to channel even more of his strange new powers. And thirdly, Suki, Julie, and Kaiko departed for the tree, but along the way discovered that the bones and corpses from the rock giant cave were being transported towards the cauldron along with the corpse of a freshly slain rock giant. Following the trail of carnage of slain cultists and broken Reconstructed, we've the trio found the rock giant that the group actually freed from the collection only a week prior, somewhat injured, having a standoff with what you discovered and finally revealed was the Reconstructed troll, a towering monstrosity of undead. Thanks to a combo attack of Suki using the freeze thrower to freeze and weaken the armor of the troll, Julie was able to disarm it, setting it up for Suki or Kaiko to unleash the full force of the ghost fire, nearly emoliating it, but in a desperate action, it cut its way through time and through space itself, retreating back to the safety of the necromancer and the regenerative liquids of the cauldron. And we resume Zoe and Celia.
that's me and you.
Yeah.
You have managed to fight off and scare off the Reconstruct that were assaulting. Celia managing to take out the cultists that seem to be at least partially guiding Reconstructed.
And she was sniping them with her tongue.
Yeah. And Ogilvy and Fallow have joined you. You saw that it's not too many names in this arc already. Not Emil. Elias, that was it. Elias, the cultist that Hal and Zoe you were able to partially heal of his corruption, he actually helped defend the observatory, but he handed back the gun and went back inside, leaving the four of you standing outside.
Redemption blues.
All right, you're both safe here now.
And Ogilvy goes, "It'll put a strain, but yeah, I can turn on the shield again."
Yeah, honestly, it's worth. You'd better just leave it on, even if it burns out at this point. Shit's going down.
Yeah, and he looks up to the skies and he's like, yes, this is honestly probably one of my biggest nightmares.
It won't be for long.
And Fallow looks to the two of you and he goes, has your group discovered more? What can you catch me up on? Hal started to tell me more, but then we got interrupted with all this.
The trolls are
Eyes narrow towards Fallow.
trolls are bitch ass motherfucker.
More what?
More intel, like how to stop this.
We're taking care of it.
Nice.
And he just gives a sigh and he goes, and
Sorry.
you okay there?
This fucking fly has been buzzing me for the last 3 days. The same
man.
one.
It has a vendetta.
And it keeps going for my face.
I hate those.
Yeah.
So when you say that, Zoe, Fallow just kind of pinches the bridge of his nose, pushing up his sunglasses, just like, I know you don't trust me or the company I work for, but believe me when I say we are literally fighting for the same side right now.
And I don't doubt that we're fighting for the same side right now. But right now, you're holed up in there while we're out here doing shit.
And he looks over at Ogilvy and he goes, do you think you and Elias can hold up fine here? And he goes, oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
It was not an invitation.
And Fallow just kind of shrugs. He goes, my job is literally to prevent incursions like these. I'm going, even if I'm not going with you.
Kirby.
Zoe looks to Celia. He'll just die if we leave him here, won't he?
Maybe.
She does not hide this. She does it right in front of his face.
There's just another little tired sigh.
It's back.
And like, oh yeah, as a reminder, since it's the witching hour and now things are able to see more of your strangeness of people. Like Ogilvy, like I said last time, his eyes, no whites or pupils or iris. It's all like a starscape.
I love that.
But otherwise, he looks human. The older astronomer, Carl Sagan looking guy, but Fallow has the similar like puppet strings that you saw on Isaac when you first met him and started using the camera around him. But
Yeah.
you also saw what looked to be old surgical scars like on his temple that were not present in normal time.
And from what I gathered is that's probably he's been tampered with.
Possibly, yes. You do know that he did seem to have some kind of protection when you tried to coerce him previously.
Haha, it didn't fucking work, did it?
You don't know. He just kind of like looked like he got a major like sudden migraine brain freeze, and then you kind of stormed off.
I did give him a command, though.
Yes. It was delete what he's recorded here, I believe.
Yeah. It might have specified about us, but I don't remember if I specified that.
I think you did. But
yeah, because Zoe is pretty shaken up by the fact that he was aware of what everyone is.
I should really take advantage of the fact that Callie record all these and like go back and listen to previous episodes before I run it.
I've had to do that before.
Yeah, I know I'm definitely gonna have to do that for Oasis Valley. But
I do that every time, of course. I don't just rely on my shitty memory and then fuck things up.
Oh, me either. No.
That would be irresponsible.
This is
Fine.
why I took it upon myself to do synopsis.
Thank you.
Because I know I can't be trusted.
So, Paolo.
So you're coming
sorry, go ahead.
regardless.
Yes.
Whether you go with us or not, you're going to step out into this shit and get yourself killed.
And back.
And
So I'd rather you be where I can keep an eye on you than out where you're gonna go get fucking jumped in the woods and eaten.
And like as you're just like constantly disparaging him, he just kind of like looks over at Ogilvy, and Ogilvy just kind of like gives like a sympathetic shrug. And she's just like,
oh, he likes your spin though. Fuck you.
as he goes, I mean, I remember like working with Spitfires like her, you know. And
I mean,
and he goes,
also, he would have known that we had the previous experience with Dr. Y, so he understands.
oh yeah, actually yes, he did when you revealed that's actually that actually did happen where when you revealed you had an encounter with Y, he did like visibly cringe and like ooh, like he was sympathetic when he heard about that.
I do want to say that in Zoe's like battle mode she's in, her tail is more rattly, so like subconsciously her tail does rise up and rattle a little bit.
Yeah, and he was gonna say because I knew worked with Spitfires like her. You should have seen Hal's mother when she was even younger.
Why are you just telling him these things?
Miracle Mary definitely kicked some evil scientists in the crotch.
I assume Ogilvy probably got a kick to the shin once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
He got stabbed the older professor type.
He
But
was the meddling kid.
yeah, but and he goes.
Why are you trusting him, Ogilvy?
And he fixes you with this look like he's been here protecting me from these things. I trust both of you.
Mm.
And besides, he, after you left, I asked him about the group, and he, said that Al's mother was apparently no wait, he would know that. He goes, yeah, he brought up that Miri and some of the old phantasmagoricals, but he didn't exactly like sit and reminisce.
Zoe's tail curls around Fallow.
And he starts backing up like he's like not gonna let this happen. He's
I'm not going to hurt you. I'm going to fly you.
I think you're gonna need to roll and manipulate someone because you've been very aggro.
You have?
Yeah.
No.
Pick you up and fly you,
that
and
is
then maybe
totally
conveniently
fair.
drop you.
That is totally fair. That's an 8 plus 3. 11. That's an 11.
Cat, no.
Like there is a very serious moment of hesitation where he like backs up a few feet, and then like it's just like fine.
Listen, I don't like you, but I'm not going to hurt you.
No, it's the pavement that's going to hurt you.
Oh, wow.
It's like the fucking scene from Halo 2. Listen, I don't like you, but...
I literally flew in here with Celia in my arms and a cat on my back.
Oh yeah, the
Not sure
general's
how
here.
that's relevant, but okay.
Carrying you in my tail's not going to be that hard.
Zoe,
Yeah?
when we get home, we're gonna have a talk about your bedside manner.
No, we're not. This has nothing to do with bedside manner.
Yeah, I don't think Zoe's ever got sat down and told the birds and the bees.
What?
Her parents never gave her that much attention.
Oh, I'm sure Julie's informed her enough.
Oh my god!
No.
I mean,
Also,
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Like that in school because Zoe did go to school,
Zoe
right?
is trans. She probably knows more about some of this stuff than you guys do.
True.
She's literally studied it. Anyway.
Oh, jeez.
Yes, but you're talking to
Ellie.
Celia. You're applying logic with Celia, Zoe.
Wow.
What does that have to do with the birds and the bees? Anyway. Zoe like rubs her face.
Well, we have
Alright,
to
hello. I don't like you,
Zoe
and
not to
you're
antagonize people unnecessarily.
Zoe,
Fair.
stop antagonizing someone when you have your life in their life in your hands.
yeah. All right.
And, like, he goes, "Thank you, Celia. That's a very nice way of putting it."
All right. We'll talk this out later, I guess.
Okay.
You are here trying to save people. I'm going to curl my tail around you. I will not hurt you. I will not even squeeze you too hard.
And I will be here ready to give her the Heimlich maneuver if she tries to eat you.
I will not try and eat you.
That just
So,
makes it worse.
Celia!
Thanks, I hadn't even considered that option.
Yeah, exactly. That was the kind of like he doesn't say it, but that's exactly the look that passes his eyes. Like, oh.
Oh my god!
I'm in danger.
He goes,
I'm not going to eat someone.
I mean, he does know that you guys have this party has historically occasionally engaged.
in monstrous actions.
It's fine.
Devouring.
It's fine. I know exactly where to squeeze.
Yeah,
Remember when you
it's not
choked on
like a few
Remember-
sessions ago I threatened to eat Ogilvy.
Remember when you choked on that plastic horse, Zoe?
God, I almost choked on my food. Holy shit.
So,
You promised not to bring that up.
as you're talking, he kind of like looks over at Ogilvy and goes, "Okay, if something happens, send a call out over the radio. We know that's working. We're broadcasting from here still." And he pulls out his little spindle personal tricorder device and sends off a little message to. I can't remember. Did Suki have a communicator device as well?
Yes.
Is that a tracker? Okay, so both Hal and Suki, eventually once we switch over to your scenes, you get a message from Fallow saying, observatory secure, departing with sorry, my brain just, with Zoe and Celia, sorry, my brain just suddenly like slammed the brakes on me.
It happens, yeah.
Okay, so, actually, that would be, so, Celia and Zoe, you are taking off into the air with Fallow?
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
where
heading
are you
towards
headed?
the tree. We're headed
tree.
towards the tree, exactly that last session. Because we figured Hal and Benedict can probably take care of themselves over at the tree houses, especially with the help of, what's there.
Yeah, we're big boys. Well, one of
Yeah,
them.
and You're
Oh,
both
yeah,
adults.
you two are like the most extreme size difference in the group, huh? When, besides like
Not ca-
Zoe when she's transformed.
Yeah. Zoe, when transformed, becomes the biggest party member.
So
So you're saying that
You-
Zoe wants to be a big shot?
God damn it.
You should ask Benny about that.
Oh god. Oh god.
God.
Benny is Spamton in a mechanical form. Spamton Metatron fusion.
Isn't that just fucking Spamton Neo?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Does that mean Faust is queen?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, your character, so yeah.
She would be drinking battery acid.
She probably would.
Fine vintage, this.
Wait, that makes Corin Lancer.
Duracell, dated 2003.
That lines up oddly well.
And do you want to do you want to know that Zoe now has super speed?
Yeah.
Speed.
So you will be a little burdened because you're carrying two
Yeah.
adults and a giant cat, which is
And the
like
giant cat.
a large child.
Bigger than a large
Or a large
child.
toddler.
The
Uh,
general
Classy
wears.
enough child is this?
Yeah. So
The
you know,
general's fucking huge.
yeah. So I was gonna say that as you like wrap around his middle, I was just like, there's still that apprehension, but he is like letting this happen. He's just like, all right, I really need and he literally goes, I literally need a raise. And,
And then she scoops
Um,
up Zoe with her arms and takes off.
scoops up yourself.
Celia. Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brian.
No, I was gonna say that as you like wrap him up, like he looks up and the general is just glaring at him like
Good.
like
General,
from his,
safe
from
house.
Zoe's shoulder.
You know what? I wanna do something with the general.
Oh,
I wanna do something with the general. I want the general
for
to
it.
use sensitive on Fallow and try and get a read on Fallow. See, it's a 7 plus weird. 7, 8. That is an 8. On a 7 to 9, you gain a hazy impression about something important. But I'm trying specifically for him to get a read on Fallow. It's a hazy one, but
Yeah. It gets that same vibe, I guess, that he would have gotten from Isaac in the first place, where they just seem weirdly normal, but from like a supernatural vibe, they're just like mundane. But
okay.
The general does get this like emotional sense from him where he is apprehensive beyond more than just the current plan. He seems like he's concerned about more than just the looming flight that's about to happen.
Awesome. Good job, General.
So as you take to the air, I think that's a good.
You want to get a read on someone? Ask the cat. They'll hate you either way, probably, but they'll get a read on you.
So, I think that's a good. Hal and Benedict. We switch over to you, Hal. You finally stop glowing. You have to stop and catch your breath, because this was a lot of exertion. Suddenly channeling the power of the sun through yourself.
He just kind of collapses on the ground.
Thanks to your intervention, you see the chimps and the survivors. They are basically routing the remaining reconstructed or putting them down. There was only talons and stingers, and whatever cultists were there, they are. Actually, I don't remember if there were cultists. I don't think there were. I think it was just reconstructed.
I believe it was just risen dead and reconstructed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the husks and stuff, and those are all being put down, and kind of the risen dead, the husks. They were never really given a proper name, but the husks, for lack of a better term, they are. The spikes are being pulled out. People aren't using their bare hands; they're using the spikes of fire axes to pull them out of the bodies, or just leaving them in the bodies and stacking them to be in a pile off to one side, and others are starting to collect the reconstructed into a pile. Benedict, your rampage, your rampage is effective. I think everyone rolled very well. So,
Indeed.
Rick
eventually,
and
you no longer have any targets. As Hal, you're kind of like there on the ground, and one of the people comes up and they like check on you, like, "Are you okay?" And they like hand you a water bottle once they see that you don't have any actual wounds on you. But you definitely drew a lot of attention, and like Gilbert and I think it was this is why I should read my NPC list before the game.
Happens.
Lila, the other kind of unofficial leader of the survivors. This, you assume she was a firefighter just because she's wearing a uniform that's like actually fit for her, rather impressive size.
Mm-hmm.
But they walk up to you and they're like, "That was something else."
Don't mind everyone, it's just the Doom guy and Jesus.
And the satyr.
And also
Because
the
Phineas
devil.
Grant, Phineas Grant, he followed you with Joe, and you see like across the like little clearing. Well, it's not little anymore since it's the Bewitched. This place is almost like an Ewok or Wookiee village kind of vibe. Just these trees just going up and up with these tree houses attached to them. But you see the Sasquatch Arma with her kid off to the side, picking up broken, reconstructed, and piling them in the pile.
Yeah, that was
But-
something.
And how your phone, not phone, but the little spindle tracker chirps with the message from Fallow.
Oh, good. That's what I
informing you
want.
that the observatory's secured, and he is joining Celia and Zoe on their way towards the tree.
Okay then. He kind of hefts himself up off the ground, sways for a second, then he goes, "Hey, Benedict."
Yeah, he's wandered over.
They're heading towards the big dickhead. So. He turns.
Let's not keep him waiting.
He turns to Lila and goes, "You guys got it here?"
And she kind of looks around and just goes, "I mean, we do now, hopefully. Without you, it probably would have been overrun. Or at least hemmed in here until they could have overrun us."
Well, hopefully they don't come back, because we're going after the big guy.
And when you say that, she looks over at Gilbert, and he nods then she looks back. She goes, "I think I and a few others probably want to go with you."
You sure? I mean, don't have to.
And she looks over where she sees like some of the survivors carrying the body of someone who fell during the battle, and she goes, "No, I think we do have to."
Yeah.
He looks at her and goes, "Yeah, I understand that feeling. All right then."
And Phineas, he walked over and kind of looks around and goes, he goes, "Should we be certain to make sure the cultists we sent back with the other survivors, make sure they're secured?" And when he says that, Lila and Gilbert share a look. Gilbert looks a little ashamed, but Lila just has this stony expression on her face that she looks back and she goes, "They won't be a problem."
Oh boy.
All right. I'm not touching that one because it's not my place to touch that one. Let's go.
Yeah, not the time to debate ethics.
The arc in
And-
which everyone has to do something fucked up.
And Phineas, hearing that, he just kind of grimly nods, like he almost expected this result. And he goes, We definitely got to get moving. It's a lot of distance to cover." As he kind of like looks over to Arma, and he goes, "She might be able to help us out." As he like walks over there, and you remember that the thanks to her, she and her son, the younger Sasquatch, opened up basically a gateway through trees.
Which is very fun.
And my little gift to Sasquatches in the Melody verse. But he walks over and he starts talking to her for a bit, giving Hal a moment to catch your breath, Benedict to reload.
Say, this is probably a dumb question, but has everybody got like weapons they can use?
And Lila kind of laughs at that as she's just kind of standing there. She's got a like a riot shield on one arm, and then the other arm she's got her fire axe, which the handle has been broken off like halfway, so it's more like hand axe size, but it is chipped. There's bone dust on it. You can tell this thing has seen use. Gilbert's standing there with a oar that has had blades bolted onto it, so it's like a long axe or like a great axe almost. And she's like, "Yes, we've been forced to learn how to be a little more primitive.
Well, don't knock it, because it works."
Our hunting guns and cop shotguns don't exactly really. They take them down, but they take a lot to take one of those things down.
Hey, I mean, sometimes you just gotta crack a bitch in the skull. It's fine.
And she laughs. And
Trident.
she laughs at that and like gives you a big like pat on the back because she's probably like roughly the same height as you.
Which is a new experience. For Hal.
She's a big lady.
Big lady.
Interesting.
Yes.
Did you say testing or interesting?
I said I'm listening.
Okay.
yeah.
So, so Lila steps away for a second. She starts calling out to a few people as Phineas walks back with Arma. And now that you see her in the witching hour, she's... TT, I can't remember. Was Sam like much bigger in the witching hour than he was normally?
Like normally he's like 8-10ish feet. In the witching hour he's like at least 20 feet tall.
Isn't that because he's Beast of Land?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I imagine it has
it's
something
not
to
as
do with it.
dramatic as a height difference, but she's definitely noticeably taller than she was in reality. Nowhere near as like 20 feet. She's probably closer to like 12 feet tall.
Unless she's the beast of land for here.
I mean,
Does it work that way?
Her mate was dethroned.
Yeah, I assumed it was like different nexuses had different
It's
beasts
not-
of land.
You're also assuming that the arbitrary borders of melody as made by humans apply to the supernatural nexus of melody.
I assume this is why it's still purple sky here, rather than say like red, which it would have been in Suki's hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're all in the same general area still.
Yeah,
Fair point.
the greater Nexus area.
The Greater Melody Nexus.
It's probably what Kaiko's corkboard spider web probably. Yeah.
The melody
Greater
cluster.
Melody Nexus.
Ah, yes, the Greater Melodies cluster.
So, but yeah, she walks over and she's a little more physically impressive than she was in normal reality, but she's got like almost similar to like Phineas has just some grapevines tangled in his hair and his remaining horn, but she's got like plants and grasses growing at her fur. She looks more natural, like she looks like she fell asleep for a few years and then woke up in the middle of a forest. The plants growing on her. But as she walks up, Phineas goes, "Okay, normally she needs someone on the other side, but she's willing to risk it if it means ending this. There's a little bit of a risk involved with what she's going to do without someone on the other side to make sure the gate." And looks back to her and she just kind of gives a shrug, like she doesn't really know what to call it either. And he goes, "Yeah, so once
Sasquatches don't normally share this information."
It's too bad neither of us can teleport, huh, Benedict?
Cut to Drake on a beach somewhere. I should buy a boat.
The joke is that I have that power, but Hal doesn't know that he does.
Oh no, Hal!
So eventually Lila reappears and she's followed by surprisingly not many people, but the people she does bring back, it's like between I'll say like 7 people. And some of them look like they were other firefighters, possibly in Lila's, firehouse. Others, one guy clearly looks like a stereotypical lumberjack, big beard, the flannel and the suspenders and everything, actually carrying, a big old axe. But
Hal, I didn't know you had a brother.
I do now.
Yeah, you do now, yeah. How?
Just some regular people.
I didn't know you had a third brother.
Through hell. And you actually see like some of the chimps also like drop down and they're actually carrying. Some of them have dropped their kind of not primitive but simple stone weapons and tools, and are carrying the reconstructed like axes or like cleavers.
God. That is so terrifying.
But it's all like a group of 10 of them that join, while the rest are go climbing back into the trees, and resume keeping an eye out.
Wait, is this gonna be like fucking portals from Endgame?
I've never seen Endgame, so now I feel sad.
Okay.
If this
No.
Because I've refused to watch that.
It's fine.
This is a very dumb question, but TT gave me a very interesting item a while ago.
Oh.
Where I can reach into this bag and pull out shit that Miracle Miri has made. Can I pull out some chip-sized headgear so they all have fucking helmets?
There's a chance there could be at least one in there. Did we work out the mechanics of that?
No, we did not.
I think it should just run on the... For ease, it should run on the preparedness ability of the expert.
Yeah,
yeah, let me roll to see.
There's 0 chance there's a chimpanzee helmet in there.
I'll just,
I rolled a straight 8.
Yeah, you could probably... if it's using preparedness, it would run on sharp.
Then that is a straight 8.
It means you have it, but not with you.
I would say in this case that means that you have 2. Not enough for all the chimps,
Yeah.
but enough for some of the chimps.
The chimp
Yeah.
leaders.
Give them to the 2 chimpiest looking chimps.
Chimp.
The ones
And
that look most ready to
there is
reenact
one that
Dory's
kind
film.
of. Oh god. There is one of them that kind of looks like, I can't remember his name from the Planet of the Apes movies, where he's like
Caesar.
got one missing eye. No, not
Kova.
Caesar. His Kova, yes, his second in command, who is like a little more like ragged looking, even from the beginning. Yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah, and he walks up, and he's carrying very similar acts like what Zoe looted. And how if you offer him the helmet, he like puts it on and hands it off to the other one to another chimp.
He looks at him and goes, "Sorry, I don't have any more, but I wasn't expecting this."
And they give a nod, and then like an understanding nod, and a look.
Why does Mom have these in her bag anyway?
You never know when you might recruit an army of chimps.
You have to make them chimp size at first so she can scale them down and make them cat sized. Those were the prototypes.
Oh my god, is there a pair of general power armor in there?
It's Miri.
God.
She's probably considered it at some point.
That's a question for later.
Questions
When
for
Zoe
later.
gets her power armor, she gets a smaller cat size set.
So, this little group of attackers gathers at a tree as Arma motions everyone over. Oh god. The Radobon armor. That's Radobon. But they all gather at the tree, and Arma just kind of like shakes her shoulders, just kind of limbers up, like she's a little uncertain. And Phineas goes, "Okay, once this opens, we gotta rush through. Don't know how long it can stay open." But she once again stabs both hands into the bark of this massive tree, and just pulls open like someone trying to open a stuck elevator door. And there's this loud cracking, and you see as like light seeping out from in the tree, the familiar purple of bewitched energy, as she grunts and then growls and then gives a shout as it finally gives way, and the tree opens, and actually Hal and Benedict, since I'm the keeper and I don't like rolling, I want the two of you to roll just both weird.
Okay.
I'm the keeper, but I like rolling.
I mean, keepers aren't supposed to roll.
Yeah.
What?
I got a 4.
What did Hal get?
I got a 10.
Okay. It's not a... You don't open it and see the necromancer right there, but...
That's a
You
shame. I
do
love consequences.
Tearing it
Benediction
open-
jumps in. Let's fucking go!
Tearing it open, you see through this gate at moments before the group starts rushing through. You see the forest on the other side, and from the shifting shadows and colors, it still seems to be in the general area. But peering through the trees, you do see possibly the burbling Fiddler's Rush River. So you are at least still in the general area as you all go rushing through. As we switch to our final and third group. So, jumping back in time a little bit, the troll has cut its way to safety, fleeing Suki, you had a little stare down with the necromancer as it seems to lock eyes with you, recognizing the person who gouged out one of its 4 eyes.
Yeah.
Knife oozing out, red storm, the biggest grin, shit-eating grin on her face. Like, are you ready? I'm gonna take another.
And the portal seals behind it with like a thunderclap sound as the troll, not the troll, the rock giant, looks upset that the thing that it assumed that you assume killed one of its family members going by the rock giant back on the semi truck, the flatbed. The rock giant looks to the other reconstructed that were left behind, now looking a little less confident, especially after the grenade throw and then the troll being engulfed in flame, causing it to run almost immediately. The Suki and Julie, what are you doing?
Alright. Who is
And
there
this-
for me to kill?
There are some reconstructed and some cultists that looked like they were just kind of like circling up around where the troll and the rock giant were facing off. But now that you run in and the troll departed, they're just kind of like looking like they're either they look less confident than they were like literally just a few minutes ago.
Some ass.
And oh yes, Julie, at your feet you see this massive troll arm just laying there after you and Suki teamed up to shatter its armor and break it off. But you want to kick some ass?
I go to the nearest reconstructed and just start beating the shit out of it.
Okay.
Got a nice 9 to deal 4 fucking harm.
Yeah.
It's a monster actually, so 6 harm.
Yeah. So how do you take out this talon that's kind of stupefied?
I think my modus operandi is decapitation.
Yeah.
Decapitation!
Not even clean decapitation with Julie. It's literally she stabs you in the head and rips it off the spine.
Yeah, with fucking I just jam enough needles until there's not enough meat string holding your head together.
Jeez. So yeah, it's because these things are very dry undead, I guess is the term. There's not like blood that gushes out, but as you stab into its neck and then like your hand forming a spear and then it just like springs out its head just off its shoulder.
Oh god, just imagining fucking Julie's arm extending like one of those Rock'em Sock'em Robot like extendo arms.
That's exactly how I imagine it.
I mean, she did do that to pull one of the sniper cultists out of a tree trying to hunt the worm.
Yep.
Oh, worm?
Popped that reconstructed's head off like a fucking wine cork. Wonderful.
Yeah, and it like kind of seemed to like underestimate you for a moment because it's like, oh, it's just a simple human, even though it watched you pull off the arm of the troll. I was a little more concerned with the, blue inferno that we'll get to in a second. Don't worry. But yeah, you rush up and pop its head off, and do you say anything cool?
Y'all are fucking next.
And you see one of the other cultists is like, literally, you hear them go, "Oh fuck this!" Drop their like homemade spear and start running into the woods.
Yeah, that's the aim.
I could just imagine now. What was it? It was either the Battle Helm's Deep or it was Minas Tirith and Pelennor Fields, where like the orc sees the horses charging and just like gets the shit face and runs.
Fuck this shit. I'm out.
Oh,
Lol. Nope.
Okay, what do you do,
What?
Suki?
Oh, Are there
Fly!
any other reconstructed still chilling around, being antagonistic? Or... Cool.
They haven't
I'm
broken ranks like some of the cultists have. The cultists look like they're just like, oh, they're the ones who realize that they are outclassed, especially after seeing like having to deal with the rock giant.
fantastic.
Before the group ever showed up.
So with the smoking knife in one hand and the cryolator in the other, Suki looks at her hands very briefly, shrugs, lowers the knife, aims the cryolator, and just starts blasting.
All right.
Anyway,
I just
let's
got blasted.
Ooh. And with the kick some ass, that is an 11.
Dang. So I know
And
it's
the goal is extra harm.
okay. Yeah, because these things don't do very much harm. They're more for what's the word? Debuff.
Imagine they're for debuffs and bodies on the field.
Yeah, and and crowd control. Which you use the crowd control. It's not as effective at like clearing a crowd as say Benedict's flamethrower, but as a a few reconstructed pair of talons followed by a steer go rushing at you. You turn this freeze thrower on them, and it catches them by surprise.
What do we lose?
DZ's connections. Welcome back. You'd seen the reconstructed react to getting a face full of fire in a way, in a adverse way. They seem to see through thermal, at least partially. So it's just as a shock when they just suddenly have their faces blasted with sub-zero temperatures as you stop them from charging right into you, and there's this screech of like confusion and pain as they just are starting to freeze up, and you can hear the ice forming around their armor as it starts cracking in places just from their movements. The rock giant, seeing that, and they kind of like snarl and shout when the troll left, but they like try to storm towards the portal, but when it stopped, they like give another shout of rage and then look around, hesitates, sees the group, recognizes you, and then turns around, lifts up a foot, and stomps down, crushing a stinger into a small crater as it tried to run up with an axe towards its leg. And it starts turning around and just starts, just going to town on these reconstructed. As the reconstructed seem to try to rally and go after it, but it is.
My brain
not going
immediately
well for them.
goes to the scene in Primal in which all the monkeys try to swarm the hulked out spear.
Yeah, and then they just it goes about as well for them as it did for those monkeys. But Keiko,
Hi.
you have finally unleashed the ghost fire, and it performed very well. 24 damage.
That's only on a 12.
Yeah, I know.
That's only on a 12, and
Wow,
only if I have the element of surprise.
Trust me, I was a little like in the moment frustrated. It's like, come on, that's the boss monster, kind of like DM, just like aw. But I'm not upset anymore. Neither is the flame. It is very happy that you have finally decided to embrace its power, and against one of many foes it was potentially designed to fight.
Well, it's not really embracing, more like
You finally,
Letting-
for once in your life,
loosening
you
the
let
leash.
it off its leash.
Yeah. As far as
Does-
it's concerned, you're going to town with it.
And
You can call it what you want. It knows what you have as special.
And it is roiling
So
up
wait,
and
does
down
that mean
your arm.
does it mean it takes Julia as competition?
You're assuming the flame is monogamous.
Oh, that's fair.
Remember, fire spreads. It gladly went to Celia and Zoe. Fire's nature is the spread.
The fire really is.
Oh, so the fire is the slut in the relationship.
Yeah, it is. That slutty flame.
Unexpected.
Well,
a surprise ending.
there's a reason why the phrase is flaming homosexual.
Oh God.
Oh god, when the fire is removed, it turns
Well,
into a hot flame ifrit lady. Oh god.
We here at Offbeat Melody would like to qualify that last joke in that we don't equate homosexuality with promiscuity.
Several of us are homosexual.
Yes.
We just know
I
we're
am,
all
and-
fucking sluts, right?
Yeah. I am a slut in spirit, not so much in practice.
Exactly.
I
I'm
would
a
like to
non-practicing
apologize for my
slut.
sex jokes in Offbeat Melody. I'm sorry.
Slut era, I say, as I buy another Charmander for my wall of Charmanders.
So, Kaiko,
Yeah.
while this flame, it's disappointment that the troll got away, but it knows that it is on the run. It is satisfied for the moment. But you feel its hunger turning towards the reconstructed still around. And it leaps from where this little pile of it, had like left almost like footprints when the troll had fled, just kind of merges together into this little bonfire, separate from you, before it leaps, almost like it's alive. Well, it is.
Uh-oh.
Towards a talent, and just almost like an ooze made out of blue flame, just
Should I
engulfs
read
it.
Should I read a bad situation?
Sure. You know what? I think I might even have us hold from last time.
Yeah, how would I, what would the option be to figure out if this was I'm gonna take it that this is probably a bad thing.
But for the read a bad situation?
Yeah, I saw an older one, so...
Okay. So it's I don't really have to look at the actual questions for that. So what were you asking? Sorry.
I'm gonna figure this is a bad thing for my read a bad situation.
It is. You can see that it is targeting the undead, but it is not doing so at your command. Like, you see this talon go up in flames before it leaps to a stinger that was fairly close by and starts spreading across it up from its arm.
What would I have to roll to rein it in? A weird?
TT, would that be it?
Makes sense to me.
Alright, that's a...
Weird
that's a
or
flat...
charm?
For Kaiko, it's the same. Because Flakes can,
I guess it's all how you flavor it.
That's how you approach it, okay?
Yeah, I can use sharp
instead of... Do you
instead
wish
of...
to woo the fire?
I'm going to use... I also have Dark Negotiator. And I think the fire technically constitutes a monster at this point.
Say so.
But do you wish to woo the fire?
I'm a... Kaiko isn't forcing it, she's trying to rein it back in through her own will, so that would be manipulate someone.
One might argue she has already wooed the fire, Nora.
We have...
What?
We have a bigger fish to fry, essentially.
Surprise solution to the fire problem.
Kitty, go!
Polyamory.
Go! Quit screaming at me, no.
Alright, you're trying to rein it in. What were you rolling and what'd you get?
I rolled Manipulate Someone, which I have Dark Negotiator, and technically counts as a monster, and I got a flat 10.
Flat 10 for Manipulate Someone.
And since I used my Sharp instead of my Charm for this.
Okay. What's the reason you're gonna give it to rein it back in?
1, we have bigger fish to fry. 2, give it the thing that forced it on Kaiko will try to reclaim it if it gets too out of control and destroy them both. So it's better to eat in moderation, basically, at this point.
And as you send this compulsion to it, because it's not like it's separated like that. I don't know. I don't want to speak for TT. I guess it's not
Would you like me to roleplay it?
Sure.
The fire sizzles and crackles for a moment. And then, speaking to you in its special way, it says, "There is logic in what you say. I shall follow your lead."
And you feel that you have command over the flame. It is still burning a few of the reconstructed, but you feel that it is listening to you again.
Damn it, easy.
People love from winning.
I will say that between the rock giant, you managing to coerce the flame, and Suki and Julie just being general badasses.
Mm-hmm.
The reconstructed are either scattered, crushed, frozen, beheaded, charred, and the cultist, those that managed to escape the rock giant, are scattered into the forest. They are not dealing with this.
Absolutely valid.
Men are running from the battlefield. Shameful display. What happened? Oh.
And the rock giant, seeing that as they just lift their fist up from the ground where they had just cratered a talon that tried to flee into the ground, it turns looking for more, seeing that the others are gone, and then it turns and looks to the three of you as Kaiko, the flame, still like smoldering on some of the reconstructed, but it is, you've reined it in.
Troll's that way. Kaiko points to the direction of the tree.
And it looks off, and you're close enough that the tree is definitely viewable, like reaching up to the sky. It's kind of like the Erd tree from Elden Ring, where it's just kind of off in the distance, or like Yggdrasil from God of War. Or no, I guess it'd be more like you can always see Midgarstorm off distance. But you see, the trees there, and that seems to be where the sky is most turbulent, is above it, and you actually see like flashes of green and purple lightning clashing, where these energies seem to be in constant flux. And it snarls, looks to you, Kaiko, and then the rest, and it goes, and it says something, and it grumbles like this gravelly noise, and it says something, but you don't understand it.
I mean, Kaiko has a Sasquatch translator. I can roll with preparedness.
And what I did you actually did see Isaac communicate with the same Sasquatch using a spell he got from Melis's Tome.
Yeah, Kaiko rolled a 5 + 4 + 3 on her preparedness, so she just takes out what she used to communicate with the fucking Kaleidoscope Man, but has a Sasquatch feature.
Okay. And it repeats itself, and it says, "You live because you freed me. Continue to live. Continue to live and help me destroy those who killed my mate."
Ooh.
Alright, fuck it, I'm in.
Hell yeah! Zoe unintentionally got us a stone giant ally for this art. Woo!
Yeah,
And-
the explosion wouldn't have killed it, so.
I don't know about that. It was pretty fucking near death.
Imagine being locked up for God knows how long. You get out, you find love, and then just undead apocalypse.
Oh,
Life
it
sucks
was
for
their
the
mate
stone
that
giant.
got left behind when they were abducted.
Oh, so you're saying this poor Sasquatch
Aw.
went through an American God situation? Get out of prison only to find his mate died like the day before he got out of prison?
Basically, oh no, this poor rock giant shadow.
Need a fucking like compilation. It's a
Shadow
hard
Moon.
life
Oh god.
for me.
And it just like, so it delivers this, the man and the group agreed with it, right?
Yep.
And it just gives this snort and a nod, and turns and just walks off the road. Actually, no, it would follow back the road towards where the flatbed is, and you could like see it and follow it for a bit, but it seems to be going back to where its
So
mate
is
was.
So this is about the time to get the text?
Yep, and it is about the time that you get the text from Fallow saying that that him, Zoe, and Celia are heading for the tree, and that Ogilvy is secured. Hal, did you reply?
I did. I think I said okay.
Okay. I mean, I was just meaning
Hal's one of those
secured the house. Well, remember, LOL Snake was Hal.
Yep.
That's true. That's true.
So him replying
Zoe,
with just an
I just
okay.
want you to know, Zoe eventually printed that text out and blew it up, put it on the wall.
No, Hal just
Selfie with
did
Snake.
text back LOL chimps.
Suki will put out a message going, "Troll grievously wounded, still alive. Kid stab eye out."
you get
And
Mom had chimp helmets for some reason that came in handy. Laugh out loud.
does he actually type out laugh out loud?
No, just LOL again.
LOL chimps, what? And you hear
Ow.
it coming, slowly approaching.
Hal's mom had chimpanzee head.
DK.
And Zoe and Celia, you're flying through the air. Fallow, like, clutching to your scales as he's just, like, trying to, like, one-handed look at the device. He goes, okay, something about chimps. I don't fucking know, as he just, like, clings to your scales, trying not to look down. Doesn't seem like he has a very good opinion about heights. Or
Oh no, how
being
terrible.
carried.
Oh,
You know,
no.
maybe he might not have a problem with heights, but maybe it's being carried by someone who has been very aggro.
Kaiko, can I see the thanks, Suki?
Sure.
My grip conveniently slipped.
Stone Giant rescued from mystery spot here, apparently. ... Heads up.
Knew it!
And well, Fallow goes, something about a rock giant mystery spot? You've gone to the mystery spot?
No sentences out loud.
Right.
I knew it!
Did the rock giant make it here?
Yeah! That sounds like I knew that fucker. That wasn't gonna be the last we saw of that fucker.
Also, Troll run away like a bitch.
That was okay. Let's not poke like that. Come on. I knew that wasn't gonna be the last we saw.
It ran away after
that rock.
one volley.
After
Celia
one
and-
perfect volley. Okay, come on.
Yeah, Celia and Zoe.
Let's not insult the boss that our DM built up for this.
Celia
Yeah,
and
so
Zoe.
you say this when you guys insulted all my bosses.
It's something you just gotta come to terms with when you're running one of these games, that
Yeah.
Your bosses are gonna take a lot of emotional and psychological abuse.
That's why
next
I
time we play.
that's why I beefed the troll up in the first place. And
I'm
then
not
it's
even
I
just
was not
talking about physical punishment. I'm just talking about emotionally. Your bosses are gonna go through the fucking
Yeah.
ringer.
A fucking,
I listened to
a
a
fucking
D&D game once where they were fighting the boss and they pantsed him.
I'm pretty sure, yes. That sounds right.
Well,
Fucking
it
watch
wasn't
it.
a boss, but we did gaslight a lesser beholder into joining our
Oh
party.
god. Yeah. I used my artificer made a whoopee cushion and it was the most effective thing in the entire session. And it got us friends and it got us a ship.
And now I
And all
have.
we had to do was put that little creature through emotional trauma and have all of its friends abandon it.
That's okay. I watched a D&D game where they just one-shotted like a really built-up boss with one well-placed ball bearings.
Ball bearings, man. Not even once.
That's why Slurp bought like 1,000 of them, and so did Clax. But
And in the next session, they fucking fairy. What's the one that mesmerizes you? Dazzling lights.
oh, hypnotic pattern.
Yeah, hypnotic
Yeah.
pattern where they like mind control, like hypnotic pattern to fucking Wendigo and boss, and it breaks from the moment they hit it. So what they did was they spent like 4 turns rigging it up with dynamite since it was a pirate session,
Oh god.
and letting it all go at once.
Jeez.
Yeah, that one's fucking good out of nowhere. Okay.
But Celia and Zoe,
Yes.
you are flying. I need a sharp, I guess, unless you have an ability that lets you roll something different for an investigate. It's not an investigate a mystery, but it is adjacent. It's more of a perception kind of thing.
Sure. That's a 9, unless my my enhanced senses will give me a plus. Will be compatible with this. In which case, it would be a 10.
That's a 5.
Oh God.
Okay. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, you're being carried, so the wind's rushing by your
Yeah,
frog ears.
that makes sense.
But Zoe, you are
Yes.
actually very familiar with what you hear as you hear a rumbling in the sky before a flash of lightning off in the distance, the mountains, signals which you recognize as the telltale sign of the thunder rattle. As you see a kind of like JJ storm cloud, just a storm cloud just kind of manifesting around this mountain peak off in the distance before you see and hear another, the thunder followed by the flash of lightning. As streaking from this cloud, you see the thunder rattle, much bigger than you saw previously, start racing out of it towards the tree.
Oh shit. Al, Thunder Rattle's is coming with us.
And it's like you see it trailing the storm behind it. Like the storm is, it's like it's bleeding the storm from between its scales as it twists and serpentines through the sky.
Awesome.
But you are.
I wish I could beat that metal someday.
And like Celia, eventually it's hard not to notice, so you do see it. But what you also see is as you're flying, since you are very fast now, even with your passengers, you see the river twisting and flowing, and it's a lot more complex in the Bewitched era or time. But you see it, and it goes up, and you see the tree, this massive tree that reaches up higher than even you're flying. But it is, and you see this from this tangle of roots, these roots that are probably like as thick as city buses, just twisting around, and this river waterfall coming from, as if the tree itself is, the river is coming from the tree itself as this waterfall falls down into what would be a normally just kind of like a pond area. It's not very big, but you see it falling into what is almost like a small lake.
Oh.
And near the shores of this lake, you see the pillar of green smoke rising, and you see the blasted trees, from this meteor impact. And it is very obvious from above that something fell from the sky and blasted all the trees outwards. And it's almost from this pillar of smoke. It's almost as if it looks like it just happened, like it's still smoldering. And there's, as you near, you just see a cloud of gargoyles just circling and twisting in and out of that smoke. And you realize that you will be spotted very soon if you continue through the air, but it is within sight and you are close.
That's alarming.
Fallow, what can you do in a fight?
What can Isaac do?
Shoot things.
There you go. I got gadgets.
Fantastic.
He's like, you can feel him, like his fingers are digging into your scales. He's got like a death grip. He does not want to fall. This man is having not a good time right now.
He wanted to come.
I mean, he may regret that slightly, but it's it's his job.
This is his fault now. Okay, so he's going to dive.
Okay.
Well, from up here, from my aerial point of view, can I see anybody? Like, see any familiar sights?
You know what?
I do have enhanced senses from Shapeshifter.
You do. And as you start going lower to the trees.
Yeah.
As you go down there, you're flying above the treetops, which are still pretty tall because these trees are rather impressive in the Bewitched. But as you're going along, I'll just say that you are a distance away from it still when you suddenly hear this cracking of bark and wood, and Celia, you look down right as you just see tumbling from a big old tear in the side of a massive tree, you see Hal, Benedict, Phineas, and a collection of survivors and chimps carrying weapons compiling out. And before the gate snaps shut behind them, Hal and Benedict, you're suddenly in the woods, miles away from where you were at. Hal, I'd say I would have said both of you, but Hal, you're the only one with the stomach. You feel a little queasy from the rough teleport, and the people around you look a little queasy as well. This wasn't exactly very gentle. Like beforehand, they seemed to pass through the gate no problem, but this one, it's like everyone missed a few steps when you went through it. Like the fields weren't level, even though to your sight it did seem like you were just walking on a flat plane. It just, reality got a little rough when you passed through this.
Ooh.
No harm or anything, but it was just like you got jostled.
Oh,
And then a giant snake fucking swoops down above your heads.
Hi, Zoe.
And there's some shouts and from both humans and shims going, oh fuck.
Zoe, which way?
Zoe flutters to not a full landing, but to the ground, and drops Celia and Fallow.
Yeah, as you start going, he's patting your side, let me down.
Zoe would roll her eyes if she had pupils. That way! She points towards the tree. Fallow, what's the biggest gun you have on you?
And he goes, and he's just catching his breath. He goes, and he pats that in his suit, and then it's very similar to the gun that Isaac had, where it kind of folds out. He reaches under his coat, by his back, and pulls out what folds out into a sniper rifle. Very similar to the one that Isaac once gave to Kaiko, I believe.
Oh, yeah, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna do any good with that.
Because I mean, I have my submachine gun and a pistol, but that's about it.
I have a bird AK-47. It's fine.
And he just kind of like blinks before he just goes, "All right."
Bird.
I mean,
God.
you're a moth snake cat telling him you've got a bird AK-47. He's just rolling with it.
Yeah. So Zoe points to the direction of where the cauldron is. That way. You guys gather yourselves and go as soon as you can. I'm going to. Yeah, I'm going later. And she takes back off.
Hal's like, everybody meet Zoe. That's Zoe. She's fine. Let's go.
Yeah, Benedict's already marching.
And
He's
Lila's
been
like,
going.
"Oh, that was Zoe? Damn."
Yeah, she does that
Zoe
sometimes.
is.
Lila did meet
Zoe?
Zoe in human form.
Yeah. Zoe is trying to get the attention of the gargoyles.
Okay. As you go racing up, okay, we'll pause right there for just a second. Suki, Kaiko, and Julie, I assume you followed the rock giant back.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kaiko, you must be having some fun sense memories being around this thing.
Actually, not really. She was unconscious most of the time.
Oh, yeah, fair.
Her thing was why, and the fact that it triggered a even worse memory.
I guess the only one who would really have. Well, Julie didn't really give a fuck about them. She 1v1.
I mean,
Anyways,
the
she took
really
one out
big one did
solo.
fuck Julie up really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
This one
At the-
isn't as big, but it is still a large rock giant.
At the same time, Julie is wired to just turn trauma into spite, anger, and violence.
Totally fair.
So I heard y'all met a rock giant.
Oh yeah, they haven't met up yet.
Yeah, and also he's right here with us.
Oh.
But
I do believe I missed that coming in.
No, I
Really,
mean,
it says that she fades out of existence.
the trio of them and the rock giant haven't met up with the group yet. But following the rock giant, they walk up to this flatbed that they stopped on the bridge. Like they threw what looked to be like a sewer or a manhole cover into it. The giant walks up to this slain giant just kind of piled up on a large pile of bones. You know, humans, ape, just this charnel grave of this rock giant on it, and even now as they reach down and touch its chest, as momentarily you see bits of it start flaking off. It's already crumbling, but it, for something you've only seen rage and be kind of pitiful when it was inside the cage, this is the first time you've actually seen these things show anything that wasn't anger or spite, as it just kind of silently grieves for a moment before it looks to the group, gives a nod, and just storms off towards the north. But it passes by this boulder that's just kind of half submerged on the river's bank, and it just walks right through it. And it is gone for the moment, leaving the three of you by the river, which actually the three of you roll a sharp unless you have something that lets you roll differently for investigate a mystery. Since there's no such thing as a perception roll.
I'll do a sharp.
Because I think Isaac has something where it lets him use cool or something.
That's a 7.
Okay.
Julie?
I want my microphone turned around. 4.
4.
Okay,
Joe.
so that would be an 8 for Kaiko.
Okay. Kind of like, just it was a pretty sudden, that departure of that rock giant, but as you're just getting ready to go off, Kaiko and Suki, rather quickly, you see taking off, not far from where you're at, out of the trees, you see a very familiar green streak of scales and moth wings go racing up into the sky.
Oh, hey, I recognize that.
I don't know if Zoe's back yet.
Not yet.
Oops. But Kaiko,
Intermission.
the flame has reduced back to a more manageable, just kind of smolder. But that's only 5. There's only 6. Okay, we still got plenty of time. So, Hal, Benedict, and Celia, you've all met or regathered with Fallow and the tagging along. I guess Hal, you, similar to like what Zoe saw, you also noticed the surgical scars, the kind of like ephemeral surgical scars that Fallow has, that you're pretty sure he didn't have in the more mundane, but as he's just kind of trying to compose himself after the rather rough and somewhat humiliating ride.
He kind of like reaches out and steadies him a little bit.
And he like recoils slightly from the touch, but he like at seeing who it was, he just goes like sigh. He's like, and like a nod is like thanks, not really saying anything, but he understands the gesture.
He's like, okay.
Well, at least he's not a fine red paste somewhere in the woods. Oops, I dropped the government agent!
Whoopsie.
Just fly him into a tree at full speed.
Yeah, he's not gonna...
Fallow of the jungle, watch out for that tree.
He's not gonna say anything about the scars, but he is going to take them in. Like, alright.
Yeah, and they're not like battle scars. These look like they're surgical, with just how precise they are.
Mm-hmm.
But the chimps, kind of weapons in one hand, they start climbing up the trees. They seem to move faster among the branches than walking like humans.
Yeah, our chimps are leaving.
I mean, they stop to like make sure that the group's following, but they're just like getting ready to depart once everyone's.
The chimps are following Benedict because short and violent recognizes short and violent.
True.
That's fair.
One of the chimps stop and sniff. It smells something rocky.
I mean, there were a lot of chimp skulls in that pile of bones. I mean,
Never thought I'd
remember,
side by side with a stone giant.
What about
fuck you?
Fuck you.
It's like, how about a friend? Fuck you.
Fuck you.
How about a friend? More like snack.
I mean, remember when it was freed? It was very happy to eat that 8-ass chimp
with 4 asses.
To be fair, I think it was an abomination that deserved death.
Was probably wondering when it was coming for it.
I would say after eating a chimp with 4 asses, he had his fill of cake.
Damn it.
Clapping for
Was
you.
there just like a whole wing of apes in the collection? I can't remember.
No, there was not a whole wing, but
There were
it was
just
like there was like
There were a number
tulpas,
of apes.
yeah.
aliens, hybrids.
Is Zoe back yet?
She will be in her room in a minute, I think.
Okay. There's a moment as we take this moment. Miles and miles away, back in Melody, Isaac's sitting down in his office in the newly appointed Thimble headquarters, signing paperwork as like sighs as he puts another paper away. He's like, okay, I think I'm done for then. And then his new mannequin assistant walks in with another pile, and he goes, I'm setting up a secret organization. How is there so much paperwork? And the mannequin just shrugs and leaves the pile as Isaac sighs with his face in his hands, just like, oh, I wonder how the group's doing.
All I can imagine is one mannequin opening the door. Hi, by the way, Orin Megoria is here to see you.
I mean, Orm's helping him set up the place, so yeah.
Hey.
Orwin and
Orin would be appreciated at that point.
The
Oh,
fondue
definitely.
fountain.
Although I don't think Orin would help with the paperwork.
By the way,
Oh.
we finished work on the fondue fountain.
The
Okay,
what?
good. Maybe the
Hey.
Dalek will stop screaming at me.
He pays the watchers to do the paperwork.
I figured.
So,
Look at all
Zoe,
these
back-
words! I'm gonna read them all.
Zoe Beck.
Yes.
Okay, so.
Sure hope the gang's
Suki,
having an easier time of this than I am.
Suki and Kaiko, you, after seeing the rock giant disappear into a boulder, you look up and see bursting out of the tree line a very familiar streak of green scales and moth wings.
Although
Not far off.
noticeably, because I don't know if those two saw. No, I think it did. I think it saw her go into combat mode.
Yeah, because you all departed from the library together.
Yeah.
Not
Yes.
the library, the museum.
Also, simultaneously, how many moth snakes do we know?
My point wasn't going to be. My point wasn't going to be that you didn't know it was her. My point was going to be that she looked different. But then the other way, they saw that.
We know.
See, we cut to Isaac doing paperwork, and now I can imagine just cutting back to the Talon we left in the museum, just like sitting around. It's like
Chilling.
everyone's fighting for their lives. You just sitting there, like chewing on some jerky.
Might have
Peeks
moved
out
on
to see,
some of the taxidermy.
peeks out to see a bunch of talons running the opposite direction.
Opens
Not
up the
my problem
blinds to
anymore.
see the shitstorm going on, closes them.
Not my problem anymore.
Pops another piece of beef jerky into its mouth, just sits there.
So,
Nope.
you do see Zoe flying off. If you wanted to yell at her, she might be able to hear you, but you don't see her carrying Celia or Fowler, even though that was the last message. Or the last thing you had heard from her.
They both died since then. I'm sorry.
Wow, a player dying in a group in a fan, not a fan one shot, but a spin-off. That's kind of fuck with
spin-off.
canon.
We're at the point where these Discord sessions are, as much main sessions as the ones I run.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about. I don't even know how many sessions this is. 6, 7?
Hey, no show has a single writer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is session 7. Wow.
Also, dear God, we can't. Don't worry about session length. I was looking over the list of sessions and seeing a little the progression of arcs. And like, oh, this looks good. And the Melody Art Fair arc, and it's just like a bajillion.
What?
It's almost as much as all the previous ones put together. And I'm just like, oh, fuck.
I mean, that's why I made the Eric Andre show meme. It's like Candy Steve. Who shot Hannibal? But why haven't we gone to the hike yet?
Okay, so we're not falling down that again. Do any of you guys want to? Any of you guys call out for Zoe before she's gone?
Because she's moving fast.
Yeah, Suki, Kaiko, Julie. Any of you calling out for Zoe before she's gone?
Watch out for trees!
You hear with your enhanced senses Suki yelling at you.
Watch out for trees!
Sound of brakes.
And like you see them standing over by a bridge that's crossing the river.
It looks at you like, what the?
Oh, and there's also a flatbed truck that very clearly has a rock giant corpse on the back of the flatbed.
Sorry, I'm back. I had to go do a toilet paper emergency. Because one of our recent move-in guests doesn't restock the toilet paper if they use it all.
Yeah.
That's on YouTube now.
Oh, please. My
Everyone knows their sins.
Oh, please. My relatives don't fucking watch what I do.
Zoe looks at that.
My brother's been catching up on Melody. I don't know how far he is, though.
So he looks and like mentally he's like, no, that makes perfect sense.
But
Zoe shouts down, I'm going to go make a distraction. It's this, the cauldron's that way. She points towards it.
yeah, the giant pillar of green smoke by the base of the tree.
Yeah,
To be fair,
they're
they are in the trees. I am above them.
True. Although they do have a little more open view because they are like in the middle of the river standing on a bridge, so it's a little clear, but yeah, it's not very clear sightlines.
I know which way it is roughly, thank you.
Alright.
Just don't hit
Don't
any
die.
trees. No promises. It's me.
Don't die.
No
Also,
promises.
if you have like anything to make a big explosion. Is that a no? This is how you beat that Suki, Kaiko, and Julie.
I can stab things with my needles.
Oh, I'm not gonna throw you into the cloud of monsters.
I mean, that sounds pretty fun, though.
You can't fly.
And
But
Kaiko,
if there's
you hear the
monsters, I
flying-
could just, like, Legolas my way down.
You know, I was just thinking is like if Benedict was in a better mood, he's like, you have to toss me.
No, he actually tilts her head and thinks about it. No. Kaiko, do you have any more of the bombs?
No, I use it. We use it to clear out a bunch. Use the last one to clear out a bunch and fuck up the troll.
Good, alright.
As you hear that, you hear a hello, governor. And you look over and there's the Fusina moth just perched in a tree branch.
There's a what?
The Fusina moth, the fake Mothman.
Yes, the fake Mothman who has been here this entire time.
Yeah,
he's
until just this moment.
We used him for scouting, so...
Yeah, Zoe
drop a grenade.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, we've been using him as an eye in the sky.
That's a good idea. All right, I'm gonna go. You guys don't got anything to help, so I'm off.
Oh no, Zoe, I'm sorry. The moth, Tip's non-existent hat. The moth.
No.
I tip my hat to you. I tip my hat to you, governor. One legend to another.
So is that Zero? No. How could you? The
Sorry.
LOLs.
Would it be would it be Meliptodora?
God, yeah, probably.
Meliptodora.
God. Zoe's gone. Zoe's gone.
Watch out, Zoe's probably going to be hunted by a rogue lepidopterist.
Oh God, no! Oh my God, that's a terrifying idea. Fucking leopard.
Butterfly.
A giant
Yeah,
butterfly catcher.
Yeah, they would have pinned her to a fucking display.
Oh God.
The Mothman hunter.
The Mothman hunter. Oh God.
And out of the corner of your eye, you see him. Rogue leopardist Shia LaBeouf.
Oh no.
God.
The fucking. Yes. The Moth
I'm
Hunter
gonna add that to
General.
Z- I'm
So,
gonna add that to
Hi,
Zoe's
yes,
character
it's
sheet.
me, Jaya LaBeouf. I am hunting
Oh, no.
the Mothmans.
I'm going to add that to Zoe's sheet. Inexplicable fear of Shia LaBeouf.
There's
So-
That's
nothing
not inexplicable.
about
That's
it.
just justified.
Yeah, definitely in the Melody universe, he is an actual cannibal.
it was a warning.
In the Melody universe, that was a huge scandal, and he is technically still at large.
Oh God.
Last
Great.
sighted somewhere in the woods of Alberta. This is
Great,
canon
thanks,
now.
guys.
That's either a fact I'm going to remember and use later, or a trivia point I'm going to forget entirely.
So,
Like Pierre Parkour.
oh no, they're a real person now.
Don't worry, TT.
They're a real
We won't let you
I
forget
mean-
it.
Yeah.
Me won't let you. Yeah.
So-
Anyway, Zoe flies away.
Yes. Did you point them in the direction of the group?
Oh. Yes.
I mean, you have communicators, so it wouldn't be too hard to.
Yeah. The group's that way. The cloud of death is this way. Bye. I'm going to go cause a distraction.
Or with an entry after how many? 2 years? No, 3 years. Almost 3 years. The Melody Lore gets an update. But so Zoe's taking off into the air. The trio.
He pulls out her bird
the
AK-47.
trio. Oh, fancy. Is the general with you, or did you leave him behind?
Oh yeah. Actually, you know, he was, but I don't want him up that high when I'm about to do some crazy shit in the air. So Zoe does swoop back. Actually, keep this for me, and plops the general down on Suki.
Wow.
I'm sorry, General. I don't want you up there in case I fall. And she flies away. Oh, and also, I imagine he drops the General, and he just like flattens Suki.
That
Okay.
is like getting a whole child dropped on you.
Yeah.
Suki, with no free hands, somehow catches a cat.
So,
Meow.
cat and arm, and given directions. Yeah, you could probably just follow the general. So I'll just say that it wouldn't take long for the trio to meet up with this marching band, this war band.
General's at the
Zoe.
lead.
You're taking to the sky.
I am trying
what
to
is your
gather.
plan?
I am trying to catch the attention of the gargoyles and then fly into the cloud of the thunder rattler.
Okay.
I'm shooting the bird AK-47 to get their attention.
Yes. Let's do a act under pressure.
Okay, I'm not the best of these. Let's see. That's a 8 plus. Act under pressure. That's flat 8.
At 8, it
Yes.
gives you a worse outcome, a hard choice, or a price to pay.
Oh God.
Mhm. Well, I think I get to decide.
Yeah, you get to choose.
So,
Fuck me up, boss.
yeah. Worst outcome. Okay, so I'm just gonna say there is a price to pay.
Oh no.
And as you go streaking through the air, gun in hand, it's not long before the gargoyles do notice this, intruder on their airspace, and you hear it's almost like bone chimes rattling as they do their own little alarmed rattle with their segmented bodies. And it's kind of like that sound of the bobble-headed things from Princess Mononoke, but Godana? Anyways, tangenting my own thing, my own narration. So you fire off a few rounds, and you're not exactly very well trained in this gun, and they're not exactly notorious for being very accurate in the first place. No. But you do manage to clip a few. One does go tumbling as it's struggling with a broken wing down to the ground, but you definitely have their attention. But you also get the attention from below as you start nearing this crater, like the edge of this crater, as you hear the now somewhat familiar sound of bone rifles start firing off and from the tree line. And I'll say that like 2 rounds strike you, dealing 4 damage.
Ow!
These
Okay.
They are hunkered down, and you can tell now that they have set up fortifications or at least guards surrounding this crater. But you do have gargoyles start pursuing you as you curve away now that you've been struck, and these gargoyles start following you, and dead ahead you do see the Thunder Rattle's looming storm nearing. It is the storm that is approaching.
God damn it.
And Zoe is provoking.
I'm using my super speed to stay ahead of them, but not to lose them.
So, as this is going on, the rest of you, as you start regrouping following the general, you start hearing gunshots going off in the distance, and then you see Zoe curving away, arcing through the sky, and you do see like a flock of these gargoyles chasing after her. While they aren't exactly able to attack, there are a lot of, they normally one-on-one these things don't seem very formidable, but there is a large amount of them following her through the sky.
I hope she has a plan for that one.
She does!
Yep.
But she didn't have time to communicate it. So.
Zoe, you had better have a plan.
Have all of our groups met up now, or are we still running
I
to the
think-
woods?
I don't think the Kaiko group has been met up yet.
The general led you to them.
Oh.
Yeah, I was
Zoe
just about
dropped
to say,
them off.
it was as the group was reuniting that you saw Zoe curving off, pursued by the flock.
Alright, where we gotta go?
This way.
Zoe, the general, takes the front of the group.
And, following where Benedict and the Chips have been going.
Because the general has also got a bird's eye view of this.
Yeah. So and Fowl is walking, and he's got the tracker out, and he's just like, guess don't need this much. And like if Suki and Hal, if you look at your own, it's just big central beacon of necrotic energy dead ahead where you're heading. TT,
right.
Get that bastard out of here.
Get him the fuck out of here, TT.
Well, I missed it.
Oh, in Fun Finds.
Fun Finds.
That fucking bastard wasn't there for.
Oh boy.
They,
Okay.
they don't even get the point of their own movie.
Because none of them have watched it.
And justifiably so.
So the oh god, yeah. Now I'm hungry.
That's my secret, Captain. I'm always hungry.
So groups rejoined, and you're marching through the woods. Benedict, you are the first one in the line, followed by the chimps and then the rest of the group.
Meow.
And eventually, yeah, like the general
Yeah.
rushes up and like catches up with you. And
Naturally,
it's
we would be the
also-
vanguard.
it's kind of a familiar vibe. You remember this isn't the first time you and one of this clan have marched into battle against these things.
Uh-huh.
Wait, clan?
Descendants.
Oh my god.
Hey, you think it's a coincidence that there's all those fucking cats at Hell's house?
No. But, like, I didn't think about Benedict having been with previous ones.
Melody's fucking weird.
Yeah, to paint a picture for those of you listening, imagine, if you will, a about 5 foot tall little robot man at the head of a troop of chimpanzees and a giant fucking cat.
Not much smaller than he is.
No.
The size of a small child.
God.
This series is fucking weird.
Yeah. So, you do get Benedict. There's like a warning, like, ooh, and even the general kind of notices this. Like, you start hearing motion ahead, and eventually stepping out from behind the tree, you see a Talon like step out from hiding and start snarling, and you start seeing other reconstructed stepping out as you draw near, and it seems you've reached the outer defenses.
Yep, we're the tip of the spear.
I need you and the general to kick some ass. I assume that's what because these things are getting ready to come right at you.
That's a 9 from the general.
And Benedict.
That would be a 12.
Dang. God, jeez. What's your extra effect?
I do not have advanced harm.
Yeah, I mean, kick some ass. You can choose an extra effect. Gain advantage for +1 to you or another hunter. Terrible harm, suffer less harm, or force them where you want them.
I'm definitely one to.
And this can be, this is again a little more, not as literal of a 1v1 situation. This is you kicking ass on a wider scale. And with that kind of role, you have a little more leeway to flavor it how you want.
Yeah, then he's going to march out in front of the more vulnerable chimps, and he's going to, I guess, force them where he wanted, which is get their attention onto him, I suppose.
And yeah, are you going
so
in
he'll
gun,
open up with the flamethrower to get their attention.
Flamethrower. Yeah, as this Talon comes charging towards you on all fours and then leaps into the air, it's almost like the chimps recoil, thinking you're about to get, bodied. But you just calmly, your hand flips down and the flamethrower comes out and it jumps into this wall of flame as you sidestep this now burning, reconstructed, and that's the signal the chimps need as they charge in with their pilfered weapons, and they start clashing with the reconstructed. The general leaps at a stinger that was leveling a gun at Bennett's back, chomping into it's not flesh, but it's not as armored like connective tissue of the neck. Chomps into it, gets a bad taste of dust and bone in its mouth, and yanks around, using his full body weight to like throw this thing off. And Benedict, you are able to, you don't get shot in the back as the general now like throws this thing, taking it to the ground long enough for a chimp literally to drop out of the tree with a spear, doing just a dragoon drop on this thing. And those of you further back, you hear this conflict start.
Just the screeching and whooping of chimpanzees.
Mixing with the war screams of reconstructed and now familiar sound. And you start seeing some of the non-reconstructed but reanimated corpses start shambling out with their spikes driven through their chests.
Here we go.
They start shambling out, literally out of the woodwork.
We're in the shit now. Do you want us to roll our initiatives?
So who's all rolling?
Everyone except Zoe right now, since Zoe's in the air.
Yeah.
Initiative, you say?
Act under pressure, unless you have, it would be a cool, unless you have something that lets you roll differently for act under pressure.
I also got a 6, TT.
I also got a 6.
You
Oh my God.
You can go first.
I also got a 6.
Oh my god!
Okay, I guess we
It's
just...
a 2d6 for initiative?
Yeah,
26
and-
plus cool.
Cool, or whatever you would use to roll.
I'm gonna
act under pressure.
I re-rolled it and I got a 12.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to roll off against that,
Celia, what's your cool?
3.
Okay,
So you have more cool
okay,
than I do.
looks like Kaiko's going first because she rolled an 11 and that's a +2 to her cool.
You have more cool than I do, so you go before I do.
What is Suki's cool?
1.
Okay. Should I roll for the general?
no, he goes a few.
I'm
Yeah,
not here.
I'll say he's going on Benedict's turn since they went
Okay.
at the same time. Oh, and Benedict, if you want to roll.
I'll decide to go last since I opened it up.
Okay. So
Can I trade initiatives with someone?
No,
Because
it's right of me, babe.
I
Well,
mean,
you're-
if Julie wants to go first, Kaiko can switch initiatives with her.
So it will be Julie,
Kaiko, Celia, Hal, Suki.
Celia, Hal, Suki. Yeah.
And then Benedict General.
That was it. I was like, who am I forgetting besides Zoe? Benedict. Okay, it is actually, I need a BRB, but I will be back in just a second. Right before we start this, I will be back just a second, sorry.
Okay.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Are you sick of being attacked in your sleep by tiny little men wearing underwear on their heads? I mean really
Yeah.
tiny, like less than a foot tall. Are you sick of them
Absolutely.
crawling under your covers and stabbing you with toothpicks? Do you just want it to end? Consider a boa constrictor. Yes, a loose boa constrictor in your house can make this very common occurrence just go away.
I'm not a
Release
boa
the boa
constrictor.
constrictor in your house and make sure to keep your house at a very high temperature and humidity level. This will also make the tiny men uncomfortable and sweaty, making it harder for them to find purchase as they try to climb and escape. The boa constrictor will get well fed after 2 or 3 of them and let the others go, but it will serve as a dire warning, and by the time they work up the courage to attack again, your snake will be happy and hungry once more. Yes, boa constrictors. The only solution to this problem that I can foresee. Buy one today.
But I don't eat people.
You know, I was having a normal one, just on my laptop in bed, covered in Cheeto crumbs. When suddenly I look and there's a tiny little man climbing up there, and he's wearing underwear over his head, and he's got a toothpick. I'm like, what's he gonna do with that? And he immediately starts stabbing me with it, and not hard enough to like break skin, but I mean it hurt. I didn't enjoy it. I kicked him off, but you know at that size, even that fall wasn't really substantial, you know. So we just got right back up, and there were more of them. You know, soon there were at least a dozen of the little fuckers just trying to stab me with their little toothpicks, and I didn't know what to do, so I called the police, and they came over, and they said they had no jurisdiction over tiny men, and then you know, just for good value, they shot me in the kneecap. You know, so I had to deal with that. Yeah, and let me tell you, those tiny men. They did not make my rehabilitation go well. And that's when I got the idea. What if I bought a boa constrictor? And turns out it worked wonders. Yes, this honest testimonial shows the value of a boa constrictor when you two are plagued by tiny men with toothpicks who wear underwear over their heads. A common problem we all have to face sooner or later.
Is this Betty doing this?
I was gonna say, it cuts to Benedict, like, on the couch, like, watching the TV. They're called gnomes. Amateurs. It's a common house gnome.
Oh my god.
Personally, I like to wring their necks
Oh my god.
so I can feel the bones crunch underneath my fingers.
Jesus
Whoa,
Christ.
what is this?
Not those haptic finger pads.
You can ask, but they're not gonna agree to anything. They're unreasonable. They're just little shits.
I keep stealing the shoelaces, but only from the left shoe. Why?
I was walking down the pest control aisle, and I saw just 5 dozen boa constrictors in tanks, and I was just like, this isn't the pet aisle, why are they here? Then 2 months later, I was going about my business. I trip over something my son left on the floor, and I look up, and there's this tiny little man wearing underwear over his head, and he's got a toothpick, and he starts poking me in the cheek with it. And I'm like, fucking seriously? What is this shit? And soon, they were just all over my house. Every time I looked around, there were some of them with toothpicks just coming for me, and I didn't know what to do, and I thought about those boa constrictors, and I was like, I have to go back. And I did, and you know what? It solved the problem. I mean, it took a couple of months, but it solved the problem.
For more extreme cases, you need to get the mongoose to root out the nests. But the boas are excellent for maintaining population. It's the mongoose that you need to really rat them out. But okay, I'm back. Isaac just is like clicks off the radio. Is like, okay, not gonna listen to the radio during the witching hour anymore.
It's good because there's like 18 more of these testimonials, and they're all essentially the same story.
During the witching hour, there's top 10 exterminations of the top 10 gnome exterminations of the week.
All involving boa constrictors. It's the only way.
Back in my day, boa constrictors weren't commercially available.
That's true. You know, it's a new practice. That's why they're advertising it so heavily.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. I was distracted by looking at Transformer stuff. And I can't get this Pegwood to get off of my screen. Okay, there it goes. Sorry,
down.
Discord was giving me trouble. So Julie. Right? Yes, Julie.
Yeah.
As you switched with Kaiko. You hear the sounds of ape violence and Benedict violence, and the familiar yowling of the general at combat. What do you want to do?
Is there something I can kill nearby?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's now that the group is now catching up. You see them clashing with Reconstructed, and some of the zombies are starting to amble out of the woods.
Awesome.
There
15
is
kicks of math.
a range.
15 kicks of math to the closest fucking Reconstructed I can get.
Yeah, that's don't you have advanced kick of math too?
I don't have advanced kicks of mass yet. It's the next level up. That's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, cause goddamn, Julie.
Yeah, I got 2 6s.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm just gonna say you can take out quite a few in a very spectacular fashion if you want to describe.
Yeah,
how
that's exactly like I fucking charge in. My hand turns into a whip of spiky death, and I proceed to just fucking butcher however many Reconstructed you want to fall by my hand in one fucking stroke.
Yeah, you're just having a good old time. You were literally drafted to help protect and repair the damage to reality, and these things represent a corruption and remaking of reality. These things are an insult to what you have been recruited to represent, and you become the Weaver's point of anger, and there is quite a few Reconstructed that are completely blindsided by this simple human, and they're this chain of needles that just rips through them. Kaiko, you see your girlfriend just butchering these things. Your turn.
Note that I'm screaming incoherently and as animalistically as possible. Full fucking bar brawl mode.
Like, I even think there's a moment where, like, a Talon tries running at you and actually gets up close, but the needles just form like a scissor and snip its head off.
I sure hope this doesn't awaken anything in me. All right.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much exactly it. So, sorry, go ahead.
So I suppose the only thing is, given that there's just a wave of dudes in our way, the only thing I can do is kick some ass.
I mean, unless you can think of another applicable thing, but yeah, right now it's just kind of fight your way through the outer defenses.
Okay.
But if you have like an idea on how to use something else, like a magic thing or something else, or if anyone has a creative idea, I'm not going to say no, because it's not so much like fight through one by one as it's more of let's see how well you do fighting your way through as a group with all the.
Can I read about the situation first?
Yeah.
That would be 10, flat 10.
Okay.
Any dangers I haven't noticed yet, and the best way through.
Best way through seems to be following this wedge that Benedict and the General and the chimps are forming. You get the feeling that focusing on supporting them and, well, actually Julie now also joining them, focusing on this weak point they're starting to chip away is probably your best bet to getting in. And dangers you haven't noticed is you look up and you actually see several Talons creeping through the trees trying to position themselves to drop down.
Okay, and so the best way to protect the victim. to keep everyone as alive as possible before I.
Probably stopping those Talons from jumping down the group as they look like they're getting ready to.
All right. They're about to have a bad time because I imagine they don't notice me yet.
Well, you're one person among the group, so they're not focused on you yet.
Oh well, they're not going to notice this. Not a 12, but that was still an 11 plus 3.
Okay, for kick some ass.
Yep, and that would be a plus 2 with my. That's at least an 8.
Okay, and you're using the flame?
Yes. Kaiko is his mouth. Controlled burst.
Okay, how do you, I just because it's fun, what do you say to it?
Kaiko.
TT, if you want to reply.
Controlled.
Julie's just in full fucking berserker rage mode.
No, I mean the
fire.
flame.
Oh.
Control intense burst. Because Kaiko doesn't want to, cause an endless cascade of wildfire. She wants to.
Oh yeah, that was actually something I meant to say. And because it was literally a ball of fire falling out of the sky, there was a forest fire that swept through the area before, local rains, possibly caused by the thunder rattle, helped smother them. But
I meant just to mitigate people collateral damage.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, the place is already burned, so you're not as in danger of creating an accidental wildfire. There's still that danger, but it's with how wet everything's been with the storms. It's
Kaiko's more concerned about it getting out of control and her becoming, a come pick me up beacon to a certain little fuck.
And you rolled pretty well, so if the flame had anything to say with it,
the flame simply says, "I already said, I will do as you instruct."
And like a living thing, once more, these bursts leap out of the flames from your hand, and they race up the side of these trees almost like serpents themselves as they go and start igniting these talons. So it's almost like blue flames lanterns or torches just start manifesting in the treetops or the branches as they start screaming as they burn. Who was next? Celia.
Hello.
There is a nice little battle royale breaking out. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna look for the biggest concentration of reconstructed and just attempt to whirlwind right in there.
Using your sword?
Yep.
Also, Celia's gonna pull a Lelia.
Yep.
Next calm Lelia.
And you do see there is kind of coming from the side, trying to attack Benedict on the spear point from the side. You do see a cluster, almost like a small phalanx of stingers with shields up, marching towards them. Go ahead and roll kick some ass.
They're trying to turn the bulge into a cauldron.
That's an 8.
Okay, and that is success. So, how do you attack them?
Just hop in, just swing wildly, hop to the next one, just kind of ping pong as fast as I can between them.
Yeah. So that's exactly what you do. Using your frog agility and leaps, you're able to just dive into these clusters, and with this blade of flame, now it's literally flame. You're just causing these little bursts of flame and chaos that break up these knots of attempted defenses. And you do take, I would say, probably 2 points of damage just from a few of them lashing out blindly. But it is
What she's gonna do is just leap from one to another, trying to cut them one by one, and then as she lands in front of the phalanx, she just resheaths her blade, and they all explode in sequence.
Fucking Persona
Excellent.
5 little tag happens afterwards.
And yeah, this burst of orange flame of smoke and fire just bursts out, contrast to Kaiko's blue. Who's next? Al. Sweet Al. What are you going to do?
Alright. I see that Benedict and the chimpanzee army is trying to break, through. I'm gonna go help over there. Let's see here. Kick some ass. It is a 9, so I succeed, but nothing real exciting happens. He's just gonna take his fireman axe. Just kind of, use the head of it to grab one of the reconstructed and throw it into another one.
Nice. So yeah, you go in and you join this melee as the group is fighting through it, and you're joined by Lila and the others. Like she's right there alongside you, using her own axe to fight them off, and she even pushes one off that try to get at you with her shield. But yeah, you're with now that this wedge has been thoroughly formed into these defenses. With you racing in, the rest of the other humans rush in, and the group starts managing to push through. Suki.
Okay. Suki's going to try to take this opportunity with everyone smacking into a front line. She's going to try to weave around and shoot straight for the necromancer. We'll see how successful she is.
Let's see. So that is not going to kick some ass, but I believe that would be a act under pressure to sneak past.
I'm not bad with that one. That is a 9.
9. I give you a worse outcome, a choice, or a price to pay. I'm not sure which one to give you. So I'll just ask, which one do you want? Or I'll make you choose. Worst outcome, hard choice, or price to pay?
See, if I say price to pay, I know she's going to take harm. Give me the price to pay. I am doing something rather stupid.
Price to pay? Okay.
Yep.
So you start weaving through, ducking from tree to burned out tree, and for the groups, they are drawing basically everything around. So you manage to slip past a good number of them before there is a cracking of trees or the cracking of a branch above you as a talon tried to angle itself better, but the burned branch wasn't able to support its weight as it shifts, but it launches itself at you. You're able to just in time bring up the freeze thrower weapon as it sinks its claws into the side of the metal suddenly before a burst of pressurized, super cooled fluid bursts out, shattering its hands as it stumbles back, and then it crumbles as it falls. But unfortunately, the freeze thrower is busted. It might be able to be repaired, but it has lost basically what amounts to as its fuel.
That's fair.
But otherwise, that seems to be the one that noticed you. And otherwise, you have gone unnoticed. So you've managed to sneak past this first layer of defense. Now we are down all the way to Benedict and the general. So
What's the situation looking like?
support, yeah, with the support of everyone falling in, and just the pure competence of everyone around you, honestly, you're managing to really make some progress as you at the head of this wedge just marching your way through this burned out forest. You start seeing trees angling out, in your direction as you start getting closer and closer to this crater.
Yeah.
And like you see, there's you have to like duck behind like around a trunk of a tree as a bone rifle slug wedges into the tree as a stinger tries to fire at you. But you hear a crack of bone, and you look around, and Phineas just flashes the like a devil horns as you see him standing over the stinger that he had headbutted in the back, breaking its back before he goes leaping off to deal with another. He looks like he's having a good time. He does well in a mosh pit, it seems.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And have we taken a casualty so far with the chimps?
Not really casualties. There have been a few that have gone. Well, actually, yeah, I'd say that like maybe a human and the chimp both have fallen, but they're not dead, and they just kind of like they're wounded, and like some of their friends are like helping like drive off as they like try to crawl back, to safety. But it's not your group is doing surprisingly well.
Mm-hmm.
There's a flash of memory, and you remember a familiar, very similar push, the final push to try and get to it, and there are not nearly as many casualties as what you have suffered that day.
That's good. What to do?
And
so, how much more of the remaining guard force is there?
There's for their part, the reanimated. There's doesn't seem to be as many of them as you would have thought. And they're fairly simple to deal with. They're just kind of slow zombies, for simplicity's sake. But the reconstructed, you're managing to break through, and there's actually a moment where you start noticing some of them are starting to fall back. It seems they're starting to, like, you get the sense that they might be starting to fall back towards the cauldron area.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
You've put up a much more formidable fight than they were expecting, it seems.
Yeah, and he's gonna keep doing that.
And in tandem, I would like to also have the general do that.
Okay. Go ahead, both of you roll for
Actually,
kick some ass.
That's Zoe's sheet, not the general's.
That's
something else you wanted to do, Benedict.
Nope. That is a 13 kicks some ass. He's gonna inflict more harm.
Okay.
Try to thin their numbers as they're running.
And what's the general do?
Is it possible for the general with no limits to knock down one of these burnt trees?
Unfortunately, even though he is quite a cat, these are very old, very large trees.
Okay, then
even
I'll just kick some ass. Then I will just have the general
I'm
continue.
not trying to like nerf the general, but like
No.
General can't kick down
trees.
You're fine.
You're not nerfing him. The general can't fucking kick down trees.
I was gonna say, it's like he's
not
cat.
Jesus.
He's not a bear.
I'm just asking because you pointed out that some of them were burnt out, so that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Then I will just kick some ass. That is a 9.
All right. So, yeah. And are you still using the flamethrower, Benedict?
Yep.
Okay. Um,
And if they get out of range, he will want to use his magnum.
yeah. So, with flame from one hand and lead from the other, you march through this burnt forest, dispensing death to the deathless. And
Fencing death to the deathless. Goddamn.
and you're joined by the general who fights almost in tandem with you, managing to race around feet, stumbling them, or again tackling them to the ground, leaving them open for others to finish the blow, to deliver the final blow. It's this is not new to you. This is an encore. This is
I'm
something.
I'm
This
definitely
is
in my
something you
element.
get a chance to perfect, and and eventually there's a moment where you realize there are, besides a few more of the reanimated, there are no more of the reconstructed racing out of the woods to challenge you, as you seem to have broken through this line and broken their defensive, at least in this part. And they're, once it's seen and like the last of the reanimated are like being put down, you like some of the chimp leader gives a whoop, and followed by the other chimps, and they're all baring their teeth victoriously. And for the moment, you have a chance to breathe. Okay, so we're going to switch from there, breaking through that. That actually went very well with just going through the initiative. No, Zoe.
Yes.
You're flying through the air, shot up pretty good, but you're now being chased by a flock of, you're being chased by a flock of gargoyles, and they are not exactly catching up to you, but they are keeping pace. These things are small and fast.
Excellent.
These things were they're not meant for combat, but there are so many of them. They seem focused on dragging you out of the sky.
Good. I'd like to drag them out of the sky with this thunderstorm that I'm flying towards.
I need you to just do an act under pressure to close the gap.
It's a fucking Argo leading Rodan to King Ghidorah.
I was just gonna say.
Arrow?
Uh-huh.
Arrow. I got double sixes.
Ooh. So, yeah.
That has no modifier, but I got double sixes.
For your act under pressure? Nice.
Yep.
So you set out you do what you set out to do. And you do it gloriously, as there's a point where you see several gargoyles, like a small cluster of them, actually burst out of the trees in front of you. Like there were some that were perched, as perimeter surveillance, but seeing you come, they leap into the air trying to intercept you. But you just barrel roll right through them. You feel their like earwig pincers trying to find purchase on your scales, but you're just moving too fast and your armor is too thick for them to find purchase. You just barrel right through them as you hear thunder vibrate your very bones and scales as you look up to, like, there. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Zoe, but you have no eyelids at the moment, so you get a lightning flash nearly right in your eyes and nearly burning the after image of the thunder rattle. Now close to 60 feet long, if you had to guess, wreathed in storms and scales now like blades as it races through the sky. Fangs extended, lightning arcing between these like crystalline teeth as it just races past you, nearly sending you tumbling as it just, sending, like, whatever fur or moth-like fur, cat moth fur, just standing on edge from the passing static as this thing just zaps right through this cloud of gargoyles, and what was a very focused cloud chasing you and just scatters before lightning just arcs through and just dozens of them fall from the sky smoking.
Get fucked.
And the thunder rattle, it races past you. It does, like, in that moment where it passed you, you made eye contact with it, where it seemed to have this moment of, like, recognition and acknowledgement as it races past you and just continues towards the tree.
Hell yeah. My plan went off fucking perfectly, even though I'm a little blind right this second.
So, as the group down and below, you hear the thunder, the rumbling thunder get closer, and eventually you look up and the flash of lightning, you see the thunder rattle arcing overhead. And there's a moment of confusion as it seems to pass by the cauldron crater. It curves around it before it goes to just kind of circle the sky above the tree, far up, as if its focus now is on protecting the tree, you think. But Suki,
Yes.
you're on all lonesome.
Yes.
With you.
Call that pulling a Zoe. So I'm trying to sneak closer.
Royalties for that one?
What royalties? So I guess I'm gonna try to continue to sneak as close as I can get to the necromancer. Because
Okay, I'll say
I'm
that
assuming. Go ahead.
You assume what?
Because I'm assuming I'm not quite there yet. There's probably another ring or two of defense.
You realize that this defense that you predicted, it is ahead, and I'll say that this lets you get this far. Your previous roll. You get to, because it's not a completely level floor for this forest. There's dips and rises, and there's small little hills. Mm-hmm. You reach this point where you're able to see further, like through the gaps in the trees as it starts sloping downward, and because of the flattened trees up ahead, you realize you've come towards very close to the edge of where the crater is, which you're not sure how big it was in reality, but this crater is large. It's not as, you wouldn't know this, but it's not as big as the pit of the sleeper, which was massive, but it is still a large crater, and you see this. It's now that you're closer, you can see the fog, the smoke is, almost like roiling around the ground like a mist. This sickly green fog, and it burns the eyes and the throat when you breathe. But it is mostly this pillar rising up to the sky. And you see up ahead, you do see reconstructed, kind of stationed around this rim, waiting.
The cryolator's busted, so I'm out with my special tool. Suki's got it like slumped the broken thing over her back. It was a gift. She's not gonna just leave it in the middle of the woods. But I guess, could I roll an act under pressure to find a way past this guard wall into the crater?
Read a bad situation?
Read a bad situation? Sure.
Or I guess it would be either investigate or read. Well, they're both sharp, right? Yeah, they're both sharp. So yeah,
So I'll do a
Actually,
sharp
no.
check.
Read a bad situation because this is a bad situation. Literally, read a bad situation. Sorry. This is literally a bad situation you're about to put yourself in.
Absolutely. Okay, got the dice rolled. Just making sure I don't have anything else. And that is a 7.
Okay, I believe you get one question. Best way in, best way out, dangers you haven't noticed. Biggest concern is vulnerable to you, best way to protect the victims.
Dangers I haven't noticed.
As you take a moment to really look, you start. There's there's actually another thing I should have described. You realize that the crater, multiple times, you've heard the cultists and other people who've witnessed it say that the meteor landed far from the river. But now that not far, but far enough that it wouldn't have interfered with the river. But now that you're close enough, you realize that. Oh, crap! I actually had something pre-written, I think. Okay. You see the crater. It must have been expanded than what it was because you see the crater not far from the shores of this small lake that seems to form in the bewitched time from the waterfall's edge, realizing that this in the warped space of this timeline or this time, the cauldron is much closer to the tree than you had expected. Water fills the bottom of the crater, either from the rains or from the nearby lake, stagnant and stinking. The rainbow sheen of a bacterial mat or chemical spills reflects across the surface with drifts of steam and smoke off. In the center of the crater you see a third submerged in water, a large meteor. But the rest is shrouded in the smoke that seems to leak off of this massive stone.
Okay.
But as you look, you see at the edge of the river, or at the shores of this lake, you can barely see it. Looks to be two pillars or spikes, poles, driven into the soil with large dark chains leaking off of it and submerging in the water, going off somewhere into the water, but you're not sure where. Whatever they are linked to is submerged.
Oh no.
And you see reconstructed, stationed on the edge of the shoreline with weaponry, just kind of stationed around.
What are they doing?
And you remember from the bullfrog, or that showed up and spoke to Phineas. They were searching for something in the river.
Oh no, the giant. Sorry, I'm tired. Oh no, that giant fucking salamander. Shit. Fuck.
The Hellbender.
The hellbender of extreme proportions.
Hellbender, more like Hellbringer.
But other than that, you see the typical range of talons and stingers.
So where the fuck
And
is...
not as many human reanimated corpses as you would have guessed, though.
I mean, this is where they make them. You want the good stuff. You don't want just people's bodies. So Suki's going to try to get back with the rest of the crew to give them the update on the situation. So I'm part of being
You
a
do have
scout.
your device.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. I pull out the device.
Oh yeah, and I would say that during the conflict, I completely forgot about him, but Fallow wasn't he was there. There was actually the gunshot of him taking shots and dropping reconstructed. So it wasn't that he was not active. It's just that the keeper forgot him for a second.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Oh,
And
shit.
there is
Juggling survivors, chimps, undead. There's a lot of things.
shoots a message to everybody across the device that you can and goes, found cauldron, no sign of necromancer or troll, guards stationed around it, fetid water, they've got something hooked up in the river. Send.
Yeah, how yours buzzes and Fowler's chirps.
He's gonna read that message out loud to everybody and go, oh shit.
They've got the Hellbender, don't they?
And Fowler goes, oh, I'll be mentioned of something. Local legend. Massive salamander thing. Hellbender, right?
Well,
Yeah. Probably.
not like we can teleport there or anything. We have to fight through everything.
Where you're at, it wouldn't be... Well, actually, Fowler would say, and he kind of goes, oh, it wouldn't be too hard for someone to go down to the river and follow it up. I mean, the river's just over there, and it's the river. It's like, at a rush, you're probably like 5 minutes away, just on a run from it.
Well,
I should know.
let's flank around through by the river.
Phineas flicks to you, Celia, and he goes, "Dude, together or alone?"
I can draw their attention.
I think a continued diversionary attack will a group of us flank the river.
Yeah.
Okay, who wants to be
And
with what?
Lila goes, and like the chimp, like standing next to her, she gestures to them and goes, "I think we're best with you, little man, causing a diversion."
Just shotgun shells in the distance.
Yeah. I will continue to carve a path.
Alright.
And
No
who's
time to
going to
waste, so
follow Celia?
I'm going to the river.
Celia and Kaiko.
Anyone
Anyone
else follow
else or the
Celia and
rest?
Psyche?
I'll come with you.
Celia, Kaiko, Julie.
Hal
Anyone else gonna go, or just stick with the group?
Hal is looking between Benedict and the group going down to the river, and he's like, he looks indecisive.
If the salamander started to get corrupted or what have you, we might need it healed.
Alright. Are you gonna be okay, Benedict?
He looks to you. It's not me you have to worry about, it's them.
And it's almost as if you beckoned it. There is a sound that splits through the air, like it's almost like a whistle, but you realize it is not. It is actually a voice calling out, and it was a voice you recognize of a chitin choir, calling louder than anything you'd heard them make before. And you look, and Suki, you hear this too from the distance, and Zoe, you see this as other gargoyles start leaping into the air, as suddenly you just see the reconstructed start congregating. They start converging towards the crater. Something has called them to the defense.
Might have been
And
spotted.
Zoe, since you're in the air, you actually see out in the distance gargoyles that had been out on patrol or surveillance leap into the air and start rising into the sky and start heading towards the crater.
Well, we got no time to waste. Let's do this.
Zoe, I guess you with your super speed, you'd be able to catch up with the group pretty soon.
As we're running towards the river, because there's no time to waffle anymore, he's gonna type out a
Unless-
message. We're heading towards the river, Suki.
Understood.
Has anybody seen the stone giant?
Nope.
Oh, I think that might be our diversion.
And again,
so
almost as if on cue, as if people are saying this perfect things that I was planning, you hear a bellowing roar, familiar, echo out from the direction of the crater. And Suki, you actually see there's a moment, like, from the other thing through this fog, you see a talon just go sailing through the air before colliding with the toppled tree broken.
What?
So the party's split up now.
Yep. Benedict is with Fallow and Phineas. I don't think anyone else stayed with him. And the general going towards the with the humans and the chimps causing a distraction and continuing to break through the defenses, while Suki went off on her own, and Kaiko, Julie, and Al and Celia are running off towards the river. So I'd say you'd be able to see them from the... Well, you wouldn't be able to see Suki, but you'd see those two groups splitting up.
Suki is like tucked away in a little burrow, almost just like, they haven't found me yet.
She's good at hiding from monsters.
This bullet rifle just start taking pot shots.
Well, I don't know what's going on, so I'm going towards the cauldron.
All right. Since we are getting closer and closer to the end time, I'm just going to say that with how well everyone's been rolling, you've got a lot of good momentum. So, Benedict, what do you want to do? You're trying to just march right into the heart of it, right?
Benedict?
So you said there are defenses around the crater, or are they like entering the crater now?
Fences around the crater, they're retreating into it, would be the text from
Yeah.
Suki.
It seems like they are, from Suki's intel, it seems the ones that were scattered out in the woods are now falling back towards the crater. While the ones that were still around the crater are still like hunkered down, waiting.
All right. He's definitely gonna live up to the distraction plan. He's gonna climb up he's gonna get up an incline to give him just a little bit of a height advantage, so more of the reconstructed can see him.
Yeah.
And to let them know that he's there, he just lets loose the flamethrower in a giant arc across the sky.
Excellent. And yeah, there's you have to duck down because there's like a return volley of like bone rifles and flancers fired in your direction, but you're able to like duck down back into cover by that point.
Yeah, and he just he amplifies his voice to like maximum volume. It's like, "Come forth! Let the mark of my fury scorch thy bones!"
And with your challenge declared, they rush out to meet you, and you live up to what you've been programmed to do. This is something you were quite literally designed to do, or at least at the hands of Ismail. But
Yeah, and as the battle is joined for the very first time, the hunter laughs.
terrifying. So that's going on, and like you have Fallow there. He's like doing support where he's just kind of off back, hanging back, taking pot shots with his sniper. And And Phineas is there right with you, Benedict, alongside Lila and the other humans and the chimps. And don't forget the general. But the river group. Okay. Eventually, you just quick jog off to a rush, and you get to the river's edge, and you can already tell, being this close to the crater, the water is turning bitter. It's
Ugh.
something's tainting the water.
Oh, we
being
need to
this
hurry
close.
now.
Yeah,
And
water is wrong.
And Celia, as you say that, a familiar horn slices through the water before clambering out of the water. You see the bullfrog, a few new wounds that are already healing, but that staggers out and goes. They're trying to corrupt it. They're trying to corrupt Baga to their side, weaken it. I can show you where.
Okay, show us.
And it goes, and it looks to the others. It goes, we need to dive.
For how long?
Can you and Celia handle it alone?
It's like this croaking, a croak of affirmation.
Just a
Stomps
second.
its hooves.
I need to prepare. One moment. And I am going to roll real quick to heal my one wound. That's a 15, so...
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You overheal and get like a little bit of crocodile osteoderm. But the bullfrog just looks at you, and just turns back into the water and dives in.
Celia dives in right after.
And it's kind of similar to when you were in the Septet's River. Can't remember the actual river's name, but
The Septet River was just the headwaters of the Melody River.
okay, yeah, you realize that, like you sensed before, these waters are connected to the Sea of Monsters, and this river is deeper and more powerful than it looked on the surface, like deceptively so. As you feel this current, and you can completely tell that the water is being corrupted and poisoned, but you still, long term, not a good thing to be down here, but you're pretty sure that if you act fast, you should be fine. And the bullfrog swims. It's kind of weird seeing a giant frog with kind of a bull's proportions and legs doing a frog kick, but it's just dives down, waiting, with sorry.
This is like
It dives down with you following it.
This is like the mystical equivalent of California tap water.
Ouch!
I was gonna say, it's like, you don't have to worry too much about the chemicals because you're already gay.
Murder me from across the nation, Lydia.
But okay, so as they dive into the water, the other three, what are you doing?
I guess just run along the river to get up to the...
Yeah, because it would be a straight shot following the river.
Unless there's something else that you two want to do.
What was that? I zoned out.
We're just running up the river, right? We're not...
Yeah. And if there's like a cauldron, or we deal with it.
So you go racing up the river banks, and a few reconstructed do step out to challenge you. There are a few shots, but I'm just going to say that for concerns of time, they aren't really a match for the three of you. at the moment. Julie, you're just a murder
I don't think
spitting murder
she's.
machine.
I don't think she's stopped screaming since we started fighting.
Yeah, she's literally just a fucking human, like, garbage disposal at this moment.
What about the spitting murder top? Oh yeah, she would be a barbarian.
He's making all the
so we
chainsaw kills and Evil Dead and the lawnmower kill and Dead Alive look like fucking child's play.
So we have tank, healer, DPS.
Yeah, basically. While the healer is also like an off-tank paladin, really.
Hal's just a cleric, which
Yeah.
clerics in D&D and Pathfinder are monsters.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you're rushing up ahead, and yeah, they don't really slow your roll, basically. Zoe, you're racing in.
Yep.
You heard Benedict give his shout, and you saw the spray of flame, and you hear the gunfire. Do you want to help them in, or are you swooping into the crater itself? It's like a fog bank is surrounding what you can tell is a meteor, and it's only because there is a pretty strong wind going currently, so it's like you see glimpses of it, but it's just shrouding this center area of the cauldron or this crater, so you can't really see what's in there besides the shape of a large stone or large rock boulder shape. And actually, you see from the air. Actually, I would say you do see the commotion at kind of like the opposite rim. You see the rock giant just, having a good old time swinging a broken log as a club, just crashing through these reconstructed that are trying to form a defense against it. But it is enraged.
Yeah. Well,
it is not as intimidating as the obsidian rock giant, but its fury is making a good stand.
Well, there's one nice thing to grab things' attention. And the party is making their way in regardless. So I'm gonna dive right in.
Suki, you see Zoe dive right in.
Fuck. Shit. Hal, kill me if I don't get in there. Shit. And Suki is going to blow the cover because Zoe's diving in again, and god damn it, she can't watch another one die. So gonna pull out
he'll kill me, and then he'll revive me, and then kill me again.
No faith, god damn it.
So fucking remind us of SAO Bridge.
So Suki pulls out the weird magic smoking knife and just runs straight in.
No respect.
It won't be your fault. Runs in. God damn it.
Roll another act under pressure, because you're gonna have to dodge some defenses.
Oh yeah, absolutely fair. All right, so another act under pressure.
Bounce it around a bit here.
That is an 8. At least I'm rolling middles. It's consistent middles.
Yeah. I'll say that. I'll just say that you get hit by a stray round, so you would take like 2 damage.
Okay.
Minus whatever armor you would get.
Yes, that's just 1 damage. I get a pot shot. It's fine.
Yeah.
Suki gets it and then just yells out to the crowd, "Fucking Gun Jesus did better than that, you lazy bastards." Keeps on running in.
Oh yeah, you can't top Gun Jesus.
Nothing to be ashamed of. Gun Jesus fucked her up.
Gun Jesus nearly killed Suki second session.
Zoe.
Yeah?
Act under pressure.
Oh god, you're making me roll something I'm not particularly good at. But I got another 12!
Nice.
God damn!
As you dive down towards this pillar of smoke, there's a moment where you just suddenly see as if something was pushing the smoke away. An invisible force pushes the smoke away, revealing. Where's the descriptor? Sorry. I have too many tabs open.
At least you're not as bad as my
You
partner.
see. Sorry. You see standing, or not standing. The smoke clears, and Suki, you see this now, and Benedict, since you're the ones with the most clear view of the crater. You see this what looked to be what you assumed was a single intact meteor is actually pieces that have split open like an egg, and what you assume was cradled within the center of this meteor. You see a massive black metal cauldron, and it is no denying that it is much like an earthly cauldron, as you see boiling in the center this black and green fluid that seems to shift with the way the light hits it, and even seems to pulse with its own inner lights, as no flame seems to heat it, but it's still a roiling mass, and floating next to it, humanoid in form, yet inhuman in its equally stretched and hunched proportions, the necromancer hovers a few inches above the ground as if disdainful of touching it. A long robe of dark color-shifting, shimmering worm silk drapes across its form, with torso and limbs protected by darkened chitin and bone molded into armor plates. Several spikes of metal pierce through the necromancer's limbs like slightly less dramatic replicas of the spikes animating the husks. In one hand, it holds a staff of a long, twisted spinal column touched by a large skeletal hand of alien origin with a ball of searing soul flame held in its curled fingers. You feel its gaze looking up at you, Zoe, piercing through you, even hidden behind the four dark lenses set into the sockets of an eerily human yet mutated skull mask of an armored bone helm. Wisps of crackling, sickly green energy exhaling from behind the clenched, rictus grimace teeth. It turns its gaze away from Zoe to you, Suki. One of four sockets gouged out, but the other three burn with hatred in your direction. Hovering near the. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I mean, if you're gonna.
Oh, Suki's given the same glare back, but the smile is this look of, I'm going to take the other three now.
Hovering near to the side of the necromancer, Zoe, you see this as you draw close. Hovering near to the side of the necromancer is strangely a thick, jagged crystal of blood-red hue. Spindle-shaped with an almost organic look to the material, it seems to thrum with power as a subtle humming pattern fills the air around the pair. It is only when it begins to glow with an internal light that you see its macabre secret. Trapped inside this crimson prison like an insect within fossilized amber is the truly alien skeleton of a Grey, with arms raised in religious awe and supplication. Illuminated from the cluster of lights glowing brighter and brighter within large empty eye sockets and empty ribcage. The necromancer lifts its hand, and the air seems to pulse with the very molecules of the air around it seem to pulse. And Zoe, you manage to curl out of the way as a solidified pocket of air telekinetically launches at you. It feels like a boulder missed you by inches.
Oh my god.
Celia.
Hello.
As you dive following the path of the bullfrog, you dive and you realize you're not the only thing swimming, as you see strangely shaped talons, no stingers but talons, warped to be more adept at swimming, with fins on their limbs and their feet flattened into flippers. They seem freshly made as they swim around this the still but massive form of a massive hellbender salamander that has been spiked with multiple spikes in a similar manner to both the reanimated Sasquatch and the grizzly bear. It seems they are trying to corrupt it, but it is moving weakly, but it's by these two but there are these two large spikes driven into holding its hands to the muck of the lake floor.
I'm gonna move in there and just attempt to pull the nearest spike out.
Okay. Act under pressure.
15.
Oh, dang. All right, yeah. You rush in with the bullfrog and the talons. There's almost like a sonar pulse that you feel coming from them, because they seem to like actually be able to sense you through the sound of the water, but they are not able to stop you or the bullfrog, as the bullfrog charges in first, clattering through them, tossing them as if an actual bull on land would just charge into a crowd of people. And you rush in and you get to this hellbender, and it single eye creaks open as it looks at you go to the first spike, and it not recognizes you personally, but it recognizes you as a familiar being of the water as you reach down to the spiked pillar, the spiked pole, and heave, and with it you manage to pull it free from the hellbender's limb as it already starts to move even more active. And I'll just say, with that good of a roll, you're able to go up and without much effort and distraction from these reconstructed. One does try to come racing towards you, but as it goes talon outstretched, it is just immediately engulfed by this massive mouth of the hellbender, and swallowed, letting you pull the second spike out of its hand.
And how many spikes are there?
There were just the two. It seemed they were trying to drag others into it, but you and the bull were able to interrupt it.
Yeah.
Well, those are the two big ones that were connected to the chains, and it has a few other smaller spikes driven into it. Those you could go and pull out if you wanted.
I will do this.
Yeah, and it seems just like with each one you pull out, the blackened blood, corrupted and decayed, just bursts out into the water. But you remove each one, and with each one it seems to regain a little bit of strength until eventually it lifts up off of the ground, and the bullfrog was starting to, or the bottom of this lake, as the bullfrog was starting to get overwhelmed, its own blood starting to fill the water as it was starting to get swarmed, the hellbender just lifts up, and Kaiko, Julie, and Hal, you see from the river this just, it's almost like seeing a whale breach as this massive head of a massive salamander just breaches the water and splashes back down with a mouth full of talons trying to escape its open mouth.
Well, that's fucked.
And you see the talons on the riverbanks, or the reconstructed, start reacting to that, but they also notice you as you start rushing in, and I'm just going to say that, again, you're just not... These things... Momentum is so much that I'm just going to say that you can scatter them off from the riverbank as they start falling back towards the crater again.
Oh, men are running from the battlefield.
Yeah, actually, Benedict, that was a kind of exactly that. But
Run! It's Godzilla!
Not this arc, no.
Run! It's what? Shit, I
Kamajira.
forgot. It's Kamajira! Actually, due to international copyright laws, it is not. Still, we should run like it's Kamajira!
But it's not.
So, so the
God.
necromancer has been revealed as Zoe and Suki. Suki, you start racing in. You see rising up from the cauldron's water, breaking its surface, you see the troll as it barely, large enough that the cauldron seems to barely contain it for its size, but it stands still missing its limb, but it is, its arm, but it seems to be in the process of remaking it as the stump is further developed than what you last saw it. And it's still scorched, you can tell, but it seemed to have been in the process of repairing itself.
How repaired is it?
Probably like half of the damage you healed, that you did itself healed. So it's still really, it's still damaged. It's definitely not at full capacity because it's missing its arm, but when it retreated, it was like dove into the cauldron first to snuff out all that fire that was still on it.
So yeah, I have expected for the open up on the image of like it's just hanging out of like it's sticking out of the cauldron like it's a tiny ass bath, arms over the rims and stuff like that. It's like, hey, I'm not decent yet.
Can I do something very stupid?
Always. I'm not a player, so I'm not as panicked by hearing you say that as when I'm Isaac.
So I'm
Isaac's
going
not here to
super.
worry.
I'm currently flying super fast. I've been flying, so I've got some speed and force behind me now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can I use no limits to just go, just all of my mass and all of the speed I've built up straight into that crystal holding that gray body?
I will say that because I read a bad situation, please.
Okay.
I think that's an appropriate one. And Suki and Benedict, I guess that's two of the closest ones. You could also roll that if you wanted.
Yes.
That's an 8. That is an 8.
I got a 10 without me looking at my stats.
Okay.
And I got a just a 7.
Uh-oh.
I am distracted.
Okay. That's still a partial success.
Yeah. So you, Benedict and Zoe, you get hold of 1, and Suki, you get 3 questions. But Zoe, since you're the one that's literally moving the fastest,
Yeah.
I will say that with that, you do notice, mostly because I don't want you to reenact the bird flying into a window, you do see that the smoke that is still pouring out of the cauldron, like seem to be emitting from it, it's not coming close to the crystal or the necromancer. There's
there's a barrier.
bubble kind of surrounding them.
Noted.
Not the troll, but those two are definitely being protected by something. And then your encounter with them seeming to telekinetically throw at you.
Yes. I am aware that there's probably a barrier, but I also have a lot of mass and strength currently behind me, and I want to just try and punch into this.
Okay.
I know. I'm probably gonna get hurt, but everyone
Let's
else is coming up behind me.
let's
If
fuck
it's
around.
if it's more distracted by the moth slamming against its window, then so be it.
Yeah, it's
Just
just
a
like
moth bumping
eh,
against the windshield.
yeah, it's just like her perspective, screaming, just screaming through the air, and then suddenly, very quiet within the barrier. Thump.
Yeah.
Necromancer looks over.
That's an 8 plus 3, so that's an 11. 11 with no limits. Let's see if I hit advanced limits. I don't think so. No, you need 12 or more. But on a 10 or more, your body obeys your will to the limits of physical possibility for a moment.
Okay.
I'm not expecting to just punch a hole through this, but like this has got to do something. I weigh at
Yeah.
I at least weigh like at least 200 pounds, possibly more, and I've been moving at super speed.
All right. So you go spitting out of the way of this pressurized strike, and you just dive bomb like you've done before. Even during this arc. And now that you saw sorry, Suki and Benedict, I'll let you do your questions in just a second. You go diving in, and even now that you've realized that there's some kind of barrier, you brace yourself for it, and you collide with it, and it feels like you just tackled like a boulder. You go from whatever speed you were going to basically zero in a very fast amount of time. And it is only because of your no limits that I am not giving you damage, as you actually do see both Necromancer and Dirge Crystal. Both are pushed back, the Necromancer kind of tilting their head in surprise, as you actually do shove both of them and this bubble of telekinetic force back and actually dig into the ground a bit, kind of like making as this invisible force just craters in. As they kind of look at you, almost you're not sure because they're hidden behind this rictus mask, or even if they have human expressions. It almost seems curiosity as they look at you, and you hear them speak the same language of the Chitin Choir, and you realize that now that the smoke is cleared, there are 3 Chitin Choir statues positioned around this meteor. And you hear it speak, but it is the language the understanding is kind of burned into your brain as it speaks both audibly and psychically. You hear, "Oh, you are interesting. What wonders I could make from you." As it reaches a hand towards you. Suki and Benedict, you have holds if you wanted to use for read a bad situation. You have 3, Suki.
I have 3, so Benedict, go first.
Best way in, best way out, dangers you haven't noticed, what's the biggest threat, most vulnerable, best way to protect the victims. Getting good at saying that fast.
Best way to protect the victim.
Distracting them from Zoe. But also you see the Talon, or not the Talon, the troll starting to climb out of the cauldron.
Fucker's getting out of his bath.
Yeah.
But it seems that probably draw their attention away from her, or split their attention. As you do see that there are reconstructed, like, starting to cluster and form up defenses around the base of this crater, stomping through this gross-looking water that's filled the bottom of it.
I'll attempt to distract. What would you have me roll to get the Necromancer's attention?
I guess if I wanted to be an asshole, I could say manipulate someone because you're manipulating their attention. But I guess I would accept possibly a help out. Just
I can do
not
that.
like so. It'd be a role of a cool because you'd be helping Zoe get out of danger.
All right.
Put myself here for a reason.
So that's an 8, and on an 8, your help grants them, because I have a particular feature, you get a +2 to help to your roll, but I expose myself to trouble and danger.
So, what do you do to draw their attention?
They're still pretty deep in the crater, right?
Yeah. I'm playing loose with the distances because we're getting close to end time. We may have to go for another session to like wrap things up. Sorry, TT, I tried to rush.
It's alright, man.
Give me just a moment. Here it is. So he's gonna shout out a challenge all the way to the necromancer. Just dead man.
Yeah.
And as it's reaching its hand towards you, Zoe, there's a moment where you realize, oh, it's oddly human, just the way that hand is shaped. But then you hear Benedict shout, and it lifts its head up towards you, Benedict.
Yeah, and he proceeds to quote the Quran. If you take retribution, then do so in proportion to the wrong done to you. He fucking cocks the shotgun, and you have done much wrong.
Holy shit.
And the hand that was reaching for you, Zoe, moves and points, and it goes, I've heard of you. And only you hear that because you're close enough, Zoe. But But Benedict, you realize there's a feeling of recognition.
Good.
Suki.
So I have 3 questions. Best way in.
Best way in.
Just get in the soup.
Yeah, basically running in. You do see actually a part where like the reconstructed are like they're shifting around trying to find the best like area to reinforce because there's currently 3 directions that are a threat. There's Benedict and the survivors with the chimps. There's the rock giant causing a ruckus, and then there's the commotion at the river's edge, about to come storming in. And say about this time, the trio you're able to like get through the remaining reconstructed that stayed back enough. They are now up at the crater's rim, and you are seeing this. Tycho, there is a fucking gray skeleton and a crystal. But sorry, go ahead, Suki.
Okay, I got 3 because I got that 10. I was going to ask some other questions.
Okay, you have 2 more.
Yes. I would say, what's the biggest threat? I'm assuming it's the necromancer. So that's a fairly obvious answer there.
But it could also be the troll.
They're in the same spot, so they're both big threats at the moment.
Cool.
Are the 2 biggest, you would assume.
And then, are there any dangers we haven't noticed?
Hold on, let me check. Alright. I'm just trying to make sure if I haven't, like... No, actually, what you can tell, the necromancer is pulling all of its forces in. You're not sure if it's, like, panicking, or if it is just trying to make a show of force, but you would guess that besides any reconstructed still racing through the forest to get here, there's nothing in hiding. This necromancer is putting everything on the table right now because you are encroaching on its seat of power, and I'll say that because you have established something of a connection with this, you feel that it is confident, but still frustrated annoyance that there is this much of a problem happening.
Cool. Excellent. Awesome. I want to do something dumb.
Yes.
Tonight's all for dumb ideas.
Tonight's all 4 dumb ideas. So the necromancer is very clearly distracted by the metal screaming robot, yes?
Yes, and the giant snake moth that tried to tackle it.
Yes. I want to try to sneak up and stab out one of his eyes again.
Okay.
I am coming for your eyeballs. But this time in real life.
So, you start sneaking in, following this path where the reconstructed at thin end. We'll get back to you in a second. Not Suki. You're Suki. Sorry, there's so many people.
You're good.
Hal, Julie, and Keiko, you're up on the rim of this crater, and you see this happening. And
do I see the 3 pillars or the troll?
Yeah, you do see them because the wind has been picking up, and it seems there is a storm gathering above. I wonder why. But you do see the 3 chitin choir pillars, and the troll pulling itself out of the cauldron, and you see the dirge crystal.
All right.
And actually,
and the troll is not the troll isn't protected by the force field.
No, but your flame, the ghost flame, when it sees the crystal, it is the first time you actually feel like animosity. Like TTI, I don't want to make assumptions, but this is probably one of the first times where it's felt just pure animosity rather than it doing its job. This feels like it's insulted. Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I would say that's fair.
It's like, how fucking dare you? We are the ones who do horrible things to people.
Guys?
Yeah?
I have to go. I gotta pick up Lily now.
Damn it.
So, are you leaving like immediately? Because I was going to actually leave off with Celia doing something.
I can stay a couple more minutes, maybe.
Okay. This is how I was going to leave us off, actually. So, the trio climb up to the crater's rim and see this as Benedict makes his proclamation, and Zoe's right at there as the trolls emerging from it. You hear the crashing of waves behind you as you turn around and see rising triumphant charging from the waters of the lake that emerge from this tree of life. Enraged and infuriated, you see barreling like a train coming out of the water, the Hellbender, and riding on its head, sword of flame, is Celia. Okay, that was it. And that's where we'll leave off.
Damn it.
Well, what were you gonna do?
I wanted. So I'm going to assume that crystal prevents the fire or something.
Oh, maybe. You don't know.
I'm going to roll a sharp check before the.
I mean, Lydia needs to leave, guy.
Yeah. So I was just
fuck it.
If just start with the next week.
Just keep it in mind for next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should probably start earlier next time.
If we can.
If we can.
We tried, but
Although this is quite literally we are leaving off going into the final battle, so